Linshi and Ma Wang waited until the icebreaker was out of sight before changing direction. Linshi said to Ma Wang, "All right, I'm going into the sea." They circled around for a bit and found a spot where the ice had been broken by the snowmobile. They tested the water. It was freezing, but Linshi's physique had now surpassed that of an ordinary human. He stripped down to his underwear and jumped into the sea. "Wait for me up there," Linshi started to say, but before he could finish, Ma Wang jumped in with a splash, paddling happily with all four paws, looking incredibly satisfied. Linshi smiled wryly and had no choice but to let it follow. "Just be careful. We'll pop our heads up when we get close." With that, he dove under. The seawater was cold, but once submerged, it actually felt warmer than on the shore. 10 minutes later, Linshi approached the icebreaker. By now, the ship had docked. Once in the water, he realized he could hold his breath for up to 10 minutes. As his physique evolved, his lung capacity had also increased. Ma Wang looked hilarious swimming in the seawater. Man and dog dove under the icebreaker together and stopped. Linshi focused his mind, placed his hand on the hull, and thought, "Copy." He wondered if the treasure bowl had evolved, or if the icebreaker was a unique item. There was no golden flash, nor was there a failure notification. Instead, a new prompt appeared before his eyes. Consume 10 item replication attempts to copy this item? Yes, no. Linshi was overjoyed. It actually worked without hesitation, he mentally confirmed. Yes. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, the 76-meter-long, 3,000-ton icebreaker appeared in his space. But Linshi didn't stop there. He continued copying until he had 10 ships, using up 100 replication attempts. Since copies couldn't be replicated further, he made a few extra just in case. After copying the 10 ships, Linshi signaled Ma Wang to leave, and they swam away from the seabed. The treasure bowl's replication attempts accumulated daily. Even after using 100 attempts at once, he still had plenty left. Treasure bowl, intact. Storage space, intact. Space volume scales with the user's origin power. Can store living beings. Replication, intact. Gains 1 replication attempt daily. Current attempts, 1,402. Man and dog resurfaced far away from the port. On the way back, Linshi finally had time to observe the seabed. There were still fish, but not many. Coastal fish were mostly adapted to tropical climates. Shallow water fish couldn't survive the low temperatures and died off in large numbers. Deep sea fish were probably less affected. Whenever he wanted fresh seafood, he could just go out to sea and catch some himself. But before that, he had to learn how to pilot an icebreaker. Back on shore, Linshi got dressed, dried Ma Wang off, and headed back to his room satisfied. Soon after, Lin Tianrui and the others from the icebreaker also returned to the Shanghai motel. Wang Chao led people out to greet them. After exchanging pleasantries, the first order of business was settling the 500-plus newcomers. Since the military requisitioned Shanghai motel as a temporary base and brought in scientists and engineers, it was almost full. Many soldiers had to double up or ask comrades to share just to free up about 80 rooms. The people fleeing from Jingdu thought getting off the ship meant the end of their nightmare and that they could finally rest comfortably. Unexpectedly, they were assigned to bare rooms with no beds, just mats on the floor, and they had to share. 6 or 7 people crammed into a tiny room. A spoiled official's son immediately lost it, pointing and cursing. "You expect 7 of us to share one room? A pigsty is more spacious than this. Is this how things are run inside the motel?" The soldier in charge of arrangements tried to explain. If Linshi were here, he'd recognize this soldier. It was Li Wei, the one who had escorted them to the Sha City Art Academy. Chu Tian complained about the small room, pointing right at Li Wei's nose, spitting as he yelled, "Do we look like you country bumpkins? Do you have any idea who we are? Just saying our names would scare you to death. Change our room right now. I want a single room with a bed, electricity, and a bathroom." The others chimed in, demanding their rights. Those who could board the icebreaker were no ordinary people. They were high-ranking officials and elites from Jingdu. But the military now operated on a contribution system. Without contributions, no matter how high your past status, everyone was treated equally. Li Wei said coldly, "I'm sorry. According to orders, aside from the commanders and scientists, everyone is treated equally. Wait a few days until the shelter is finished, and rooms will be reassigned based on contributions. If you want a better room, go earn contribution points." With that, he turned to lead the others to another room. "Stop right there, did I say you could leave? I'm not done talking." Chu Tian lunged forward and grabbed Li Wei. Li Wei frowned. "Let go of me, Chu Tian." During the battle a few days ago, Li Wei was one of those who awakened their evolutionary genes. His physique and strength were far beyond what they used to be. Chu Tian was thrown back, slamming hard into the wall. His head hit with a loud bang. It hurt just listening to it. "Xiao Tian, are you okay?" The woman next to him, who looked somewhat like Chu Tian, rushed to check on him. She glared at Li Wei. "How dare you hit him? I'm reporting you to your superiors. I'll have you disciplined." The others in the same boat surrounded Li Wei, shouting and cursing. They weren't just doing this for Chu Tian, but for their own status. If Chu Tian was treated like this, they wouldn't fare any better. How could they accept this? Before they could finish, Wang Chao's voice rang out from behind the crowd. "Discipline? Who?" The crowd suddenly fell silent. He Guo Huang and Lin Honglong were personally accommodated by young Master Lin. Wang Chao had just finished settling a few scientists from Jingdu next to the military scientists. Hearing the commotion, he walked over. "What's going on?" Chu Tian's mother, red with anger, pointed unceremoniously at Wang Chao. "You're their superior, right? Your soldier hit my son. If you don't give me an explanation, this isn't over. I'll report this to the higher-ups and have you stripped of your rank." Wang Chao ignored her and looked at Li Wei. "What happened?" Li Wei pointed at the furious Chu Tian. "This guy demanded a room change. I told him he needs contribution points. While I was arranging things for the others, he grabbed me and wouldn't let me leave. I just pushed him away. That's all." Wang Chao coldly stared at the mother and son for a moment, then told Li Wei, "These two don't need to stay here anymore." Chu Tian and his mother were overjoyed, thinking they had successfully gotten a room change. The others had mixed expressions, harboring their own thoughts. Wang Chao continued, "Since this place isn't to their liking, let them go find their own accommodations." Li Wei replied, "Yes, sir." Chu Tian and his mother's eyes widened in shock. The soldiers in the unit were no longer the peacetime soldiers from a few months ago. After months of the brutal apocalypse, every soldier had become a true warrior. They knew they couldn't sympathize with everyone. While they might soften toward struggling survivors, showing sympathy to these pampered, arrogant elites in the apocalypse was completely unnecessary. Chu Tian's mother was so furious her chest heaved violently. The others weren't doing much better, realizing they wouldn't get any special treatment either. Just then, a middle-aged man stepped out from the crowd, speaking passionately. "Everyone, let's go find our own place. So many people have died outside. There's plenty of housing, every single one of us. Was an outstanding talent just a few months ago. Are we afraid we can't build something great on our own?" Hearing this, the crowd's thoughts shifted. He was right. A few months ago, they were all people of status. Why not go out, start their own enterprise, and build their own faction? It beat looking at the faces of these country bumpkins. Many people's minds raced as they glanced at Wang Chao. They had been on the icebreaker too long to know that the outside world was now dangerous, not just because of people, but also mutated beasts. Wang Chao swept his gaze over the crowd, memorizing their faces, and said calmly, "Our unit will not restrict your freedom. Whoever wants to accept the arrangements, follow Li Wei. If you don't want to, feel free to leave, but let me remind you, once you leave, don't even think about coming back. If you stay, don't cause any more trouble. Otherwise, I won't be polite." Wang Chao's tone turned ice cold at the end. That statement only made more people want to leave. A mere military officer, how would he have dared speak to them like that in the past? Chu Tian and his mother were the first to speak up. "I agree, I'm leaving too. Let's go out and make a name for ourselves back when I was building my empire." Some of these guys were still nursing. Exactly after deciding to leave, some people started speaking arrogantly. Wang Chao ignored them. Lin Tianrui had instructed him before returning. If anyone wanted to leave and start their own faction, let them. Li Wei continued arranging accommodations for the remaining people. In the end, over 30 people took the daily necessities issued by the military and left the Xinghai motel. Chu Tian and his mother, who were furious just moments ago, now wore humble, joyful smiles as they left the motel. Chu Tian's mother spoke softly to the middle-aged man who had riled everyone up earlier. "Brother Fanren, how was my acting?" It turned out this was all orchestrated by them. A hint of mockery flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes, but his face showed approval. "You did great. Don't worry, I'll definitely take care of you and your son on behalf of Brother Chu." A dirty woman, her dry skin flushed red from the cold, glared fiercely at Chu Tian's mother, openly asserting her dominance by clinging to Shen Fanren's arm. It turned out to be Lu Xue and Shen Fanren, and behind them was an older man, none other than Wang Ji, Shen Fanren's right-hand man. Somehow, these people managed to get on the ship and travel south to Sha City. It all started the day Shen Fanren's manor was destroyed by the beast tide. That day, Shen Fanren crawled out of the rubble, witnessed the devastation, and decided to leave High City. Heading south, he ordered Wang Ji to gather the remnants of his forces. Some fled, some died. In the end, only 10 people remained. One of his illegitimate sons, Shen Kungrong, luckily survived by hiding on the top floor of a building. When the solar storm hit, Wang Ji only managed to save Shen Kungrong. The other two died in unexpected accidents. Shen Kungrong was the only illegitimate son Wang Ji managed to save, and currently Shen Fanren's last surviving son. He was 17, not even finished with high school. After deciding to head south, Shen Fanren gathered his belongings and prepared to leave High City with his son and Lu Xiue. Just as they were about to set off, he heard news of an icebreaker docking in High City for resupply. At that time, there were 2 icebreakers, not just the one that remained later. Shen Fanren immediately sent someone to investigate and found out the icebreaker was only stopping in High City for supplies before heading south. He immediately sought a way to get on board. When it came to who had the most resources in High City, if Shen Fanren was second, no one dared claim first. Shen Fanren quickly made a decision, using his old connections to contact the people on the ship. He traded the vast majority of his supplies for spots on board. In the end, he only managed to secure 4 spots. So, Shen Fanren decided to abandon all his subordinates, taking only Wang Ji, Lu Xiue, and Shen Kongrong onto the icebreaker. Shen Fanren didn't want to waste a spot on Lu Xiue, but she revealed a crucial secret that made him change his mind. On the ship, Shen Fanren met Chu Tian's father, a former mayor of Jingdu. Unexpectedly, while passing through Ying City to scavenge for supplies, one of the icebreakers was hijacked by the Ying City military, leading to an armed conflict between the 2 sides. Many died in that clash, including Chu Tian's father. To secure their future, Chu Tian and his biological mother, Zhou Kelling, wanted to rely on Shen Fanren. Although Zhou Kelling was in her 40s, she was still very charming. With her voluptuous figure, who knows if Shen Fanren had a taste for that kind of flavor, but the 2 quickly hooked up. This infuriated Lu Xiue to the point of near death. And so, the group finally arrived in Sha City. How could Shen Fanren endure a life of relying on others? He devised a plan for Zhou Kelling and Chu Tian to put on a show, betray the military, and ideally take as many people with them as possible. Thus, the scene we saw earlier played out. It must be said, for Shen Fanren to have built a shelter in Hei City and become a local warlord in his previous life, he certainly had some skills. After leading these people out of the Shanghai motel, Shen Fanren used every excuse to keep them from scattering, gathering them together to huddle for warmth. He successfully retained these people, and this was only the first step in his ambition. Meanwhile, Linshi still didn't know that his father's killer had arrived in Sha City. After acquiring the replica icebreakers, Linshi returned to his safe house, casually killing an origin beast along the way. After absorbing the origin beast's origin power, Linshi's personal stats in the treasure bowl looked like this. Host data: Linshi, age 20, evolution level, tier 3 gene lock, origin power, 586 units, mental power, 118 psychokinesis units. Besides absorbing origin power, Linshi had been constantly practicing his mental power and the health cultivation art these past few days. You could say he was very busy every day. But today, something seemed wrong. Linshi glanced at his personal info panel, his age on it. Why was it 20? His birthday clearly hadn't passed yet. He remembered clearly that his birthday was a few days before the Lunar New Year, but it was still only late October. Since the apocalypse began, Linshi had always kept careful track of time. He couldn't understand it. What was going on? If someone else told him the birthday he'd celebrated for 20 years wasn't his real birthday, he wouldn't believe it. But the treasure bowl couldn't be wrong. Eliminating the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. The birthday he had celebrated all these years was not his actual birthday. Linshi felt an indescribable mix of emotions: surprise, doubt, panic, confusion. Could it be that he wasn't the biological son of his father and Lu Xiue? Or did they remember his birthday wrong? This question swirled in his mind, making him lose his appetite for dinner that night. Ma Wang was very perceptive. Noticing Linshi seemed off, it came to his side, rested its head on his lap, and kept him silent company. The next morning, Linshi had calmed down. Last night, he recalled every detail regarding his family from childhood to adulthood. He even unlocked his gene lock to recall memories buried deep in his subconscious. Finally, he reached a hard-to-accept conclusion. He might not be the biological son of the man he called father and Lu Xiue for decades. It wasn't a hospital mix-up. Both his father and Lu Xiue seemed to know he wasn't theirs. Starting from childhood, his father was named Lin Mingzhen. As far back as Linshi could remember, Lu Xiue's attitude toward him had always been very cold. Although Lu Xiue took good care of Linshi's daily needs, food, clothing, her demeanor was often icy. When Lin Mingzhen was home, Lu Xiue would be nicer to Linshi. But when Lin Mingzhen was away, she reverted to her lukewarm, indifferent face. As for Lin Mingzhen, his attitude toward Linshi from childhood was also very suspicious. As a father, Lin Mingzhen had never scolded Linshi once. No matter what mistake Linshi made, Lin Mingzhen never got angry. Previously, Linshi thought this was just a father's love, but last night, recalling their time together, he realized that while they never argued, there was no sense of father-son intimacy. On the contrary, he felt as if Lin Mingzhen was always deferring to him. There were other oddities too. Despite their good financial situation, Linshi's family never left High City for a vacation. Lin Mingzhen didn't allow Linshi to travel elsewhere. This was the only thing Lin Mingzhen didn't indulge Linshi in. And finally, Lin Mingzhen's death was an unexpected accident. But it wasn't until he died that Linshi discovered Lin Mingzhen had drafted a will when Linshi was only 2 years old. Even Lu Xiue didn't know about this, because when the lawyer arrived, she looked utterly in disbelief. Now, to find out the truth, he probably had to find Lu Xiue. Linshi didn't know Lu Xiue had come to Sha City. He thought, with his father dead, Lu Xiue was still in High City. So he couldn't just run back to High City just because he learned the truth about his origins. The apocalypse was here. Even if he knew the truth, what could he do? Could he even find his real relatives? Perhaps those two had already died in the apocalypse. Therefore, he temporarily put the matter aside. Over half a month later, the weather was quite good. Linshi and Ma Wang went up the mountain every day to hunt origin beasts. He let the gibbon, the clouded leopard, and the giant panda out of his space. Since they had been cooped up in there for so long, they couldn't advance in tier. Having tamed them for so long, it was time for them to absorb origin power and hunt for food. The giant panda and Ma Wang were very close, always trailing behind Ma Wang. Ma Wang often ran like lightning, leaving the giant panda in the dust. Linshi trusted Ma Wang, so he followed them too. He and Ma Wang split up to hunt, taking the gibbon and the clouded leopard with him. Now that he had reached Tier 3, he wasn't afraid of the gibbon and clouded leopard running away. The clouded leopard didn't dare run, working hard every day. The gibbon had gotten used to the tasty food Linshi provided. It was very smart. It knew there were no fresh fruits or vegetables out there anymore, only here, so it obediently followed Linshi. Nowadays, there were more and more origin beasts around Sha City. Linshi hunted 7 or 8 Tier 1 origin beasts every day. If he was lucky, he could kill up to 10. He fed Ma Wang, the clouded leopard, and the giant panda 1 origin beast each day so they could quickly advance. The way origin beasts advance is different from humans. They just need to absorb enough origin power. The clouded leopard was the first to advance. After eating just 4 origin beasts, it evolved into a Tier 2 origin beast. A few days after leveling up, it walked with its head held higher. It was no longer the lowest-ranking animal in the group. This made the gibbon quite anxious because the gibbon was a picky eater, only liking fruits and vegetables, and mutated plants were harder to find than mutated animals, so it still hadn't advanced. A few days later, Ma Wang also advanced. Ma Wang had an insatiable appetite, eating 1 more origin beast per day than the clouded leopard and the giant panda. On the 8th day, it successfully advanced to a Tier 3 origin beast. After advancing, Ma Wang's body was much larger than before. Its head was taller than Lin Shi's, towering over him. It weighed at least 800 or 900 pounds. Its shape increasingly resembled a wolf. A giant wolf like never seen before. Just standing there, it exuded a terrifying aura. Now, it had to squeeze through the safe house door like a dog crawling through a hole, unable to walk in with its head held high and chest puffed out like before. After reaching Tier 3, Ma Wang's strange eyes brimmed with intelligent light, looking much more agile than before. To test Ma Wang's intelligence, Linshi asked, "Ma Wang, what's 11 times 11? Ma Wang shot Linshi a look. "Don't think you can trick me into answering 121. Besides intelligence and size, Ma Wang's bite force also increased drastically, easily able to bite through steel. Its combat power also surged. When sparring with Linshi, Ma Wang didn't have the upper hand in speed and strength. Even though it lost to Linshi every time for various reasons, Ma Wang thought to itself, "Are humans really this cunning?" After several exhausting days, the gibbon finally found a mutated plant, and it might even be poisonous. Linshi was about to directly absorb its origin power, but unexpectedly, the gibbon dared to eat the poisonous plant. After eating that toxic root, it fell into a deep sleep for 3 days. Linshi almost thought it was dead, yet on the 4th day, it woke up and evolved. This evolution turned the gibbon's thick fur purple. It turned into a purple furball. Only the giant panda, because it wasn't proactive about eating raw origin beast meat, took half a month to reach Tier 3. As for Linshi, the origin power in his body now couldn't be compared to half a month ago. After continuously absorbing the origin power of dozens of origin beasts for half a month, Linshi's treasure bowl interface now looked like this. Host info: Linshi, age 20, evolution level, Tier 3 gene lock. Origin power, 1,539 units. Mental power, 163 psychokinesis units. Linshi also didn't neglect his mental power training. He discovered that for every additional psychokinesis unit, his mental scanning range after unlocking his genes increased by 1 meter. Currently, Linshi's mental scanning range after unlocking his genes had reached 163 meters. Today, the weather was still sunny and beautiful. Linshi left the safe house, looked up at the unchanging sun in the sky, and prepared to go up the mountain to hunt origin beasts. Before heading up, Linshi looked down and unexpectedly discovered that Wolong village had some uninvited guests. Heh, you bastard, you finally fell into the net, huh? Liang Cheng sneered smugly, holding a pistol and blowing on the barrel. Last time, Liang Cheng ambushed Linshi outside his safe house, but was counterattacked by Liao Peng, who was heading up the mountain. His accomplices were shot dead, and only Liang Cheng luckily escaped with his life. Back home, the more Liang Cheng thought about it, the angrier he got. He couldn't swallow this anger. He was the kind of person who would do anything. First, he went to Wolong village to scout, confirming Liao Peng was home alone. Then he went to someone else's house and stole a baby only a few months old. Early in the morning, he placed the baby at Liao Peng's door. Unexpectedly, it actually lured Liao Peng out. This time, Liang Cheng brought 5 people. One pointed a gun right at Liao Peng, 2 others beat Liao Peng mercilessly, and 2 more were ransacking the house. Liao Peng woke up, heard a noise outside, and opened the door to check. He ended up seeing a baby crying loudly at his door. Without hesitation, he opened the door, only to be struck with a club the moment he did. When he woke up, he found his gun and dagger had been taken. Last time my aim was off. I should have just let you die. Patui Liao Peng, his mouth full of blood, spat out a wad of bloody saliva. Liang Cheng viciously kicked Liao Peng in the mouth, knocking out 2 of his teeth, then stepped on Liao Peng's head and said cruelly, "I was planning to scheme to deal with you. I didn't expect a little bastard child would be enough to catch you. Haven't you heard the saying, good people die young, but the wicked live for 100 years? I'm the type who lives for 100 years. Now I'm going to make you watch this baby die, then chop you into pieces and sell your meat at the market. There are already people eating human flesh now." Liao Peng looked at the baby Liang Cheng was using. The baby lay in the snow, ignored by everyone, already turning purple and unable to cry anymore. It would definitely freeze to death soon. Liao Peng wanted to save the baby, but was powerless. Liao Peng regretted it immensely. If he had hunted Liang Cheng down and killed him last time, this wouldn't have happened, and an innocent child wouldn't have been harmed. But it was too late to say anything now. The apocalypse was cruel, and human hearts were even more sinister than the environment. Just then, the 2 guys ransacking the house shouted, "There are so many guns and ammo here, holy crap, and a ton of food too. Brother Cheng, get in here quick." Liang Cheng ignored Liao Peng under his foot, hurriedly told the others to watch Liao Peng, and rushed into the room. Liang Cheng and 2 others barged into Liao Peng's room, leaving only 1 man standing watch over Liao Peng. As soon as Liang Cheng left, Liao Peng felt a wave of relief. He was about to lift his head from the snow when a man with yellow teeth and dark circles under his eyes sneered and stomped hard on Liao Peng's head. This was the most ruthless of the 2 who had beaten Liao Peng earlier. Seeing Liao Peng's resentful, humiliated eyes, the man pressed his shoe hard against his head. Liao Peng's face was instantly covered in blood. He couldn't help but cry out. Seeing Liao Peng's state, the man looked thrilled and said casually, "Kid, I heard you pointed a gun at Brother Cheng last time and acted all tough. Try acting tough now. I guarantee, even if you scream yourself hoarse today, no one will come to save you." With that, he kicked Liao Peng again. Liao Peng felt a sharp pain in his stomach and curled up like a shrimp. Since the apocalypse began, many people had developed various psychological issues. Some became depressed, some hot-tempered, some perverted, and some even went insane. This man was clearly a sick pervert. He seemed to take pleasure in hearing Liao Peng's miserable screams. Liao Peng knew these people wouldn't spare him, but he didn't beg for mercy. He looked at the child whose eyes were now tightly shut, his own eyes stinging, praying in his heart. "Don't sleep. Don't sleep." The man noticed Liao Peng's gaze, and the smile on his face grew even more twisted. "You really care about this little brat, huh?" Liao Peng looked at the man, saw the cruelty in his eyes, guessed what he was about to do, and grabbed his leg. "Ha! It's too late to beg now. Heh heh. Watch me twist this little brat's head off." The man rubbed his hands together, kicked Liao Peng away, and walked toward the child. He picked up the freezing, unconscious baby like a toy. Seeing Liao Peng's terrified, despairing expression, he felt an indescribable thrill wash over him. Suddenly, Liao Peng's eyes widened, staring behind the man, and he cried out in his heart, Boss, Linshi had appeared in the distance at some unknown point. The man thought Liao Pang was trying to distract him. You think you can still trick me with this childish game? Are you trying to tell me there's someone behind me? Heh! But before the man could finish his laugh, a gust of wind blew past him from behind. By the time he realized something was wrong and tried to turn his head, he only caught a glimpse of a massive blood-red maw filled with razor-sharp fangs. What the? That was the man's last conscious thought before he died. A second later, his head was severed from his body. It took Ma Wang only 1 second to dash from the edge of the village to the center and bite to death the person Linshi had ordered it to kill. It spat out the human head along with more than half a shoulder. Ma Wang even humanely spat the blood out of its mouth twice, looking utterly disgusted, before turning its head to face the stunned and terrified Liao Pang. A strong gust of wind blew past, and Linshi appeared beside Ma Wang, catching the baby that had fallen from the dead man's grasp. "This is my companion, Ma Wang." Hearing Linshi's voice, Liao Pang finally began to calm down from his panic. "Beat, boss," Liao Pang called out, trembling, clearly badly frightened. A mutated beast. This was definitely a mutated beast. This one was even bigger than the one he had seen the extermination squad fight from afar before. But Liao Pang immediately remembered the baby and scrambled up, running to Linshi's side. "Boss, how is the baby? Is it still breathing?" Linshi gave Liao Pang a questioning look, then checked the baby in his arms. He could barely hear a breath. It was over -40 degrees outside. Even an adult would find it unbearable to stay out for long, let alone a baby just a few months old. Linshi placed the baby in Liao Pang's arms and said, "Still alive, but won't last long." For a baby to survive this long in the apocalypse meant its parents had done everything they could to protect it. Liao Pang took the baby with trembling hands, took off his coat to wrap it up, and muttered, "It's all my fault. I'm the one who got it hurt." "What happened?" Linshi asked. "Boss, you're right. That guy who escaped from my house last time came back." Liao Pang recounted how he was lured out by the baby that morning. Liang Cheng and his 4 accomplices walked out of Liao Pang's room, beaming with joy, carrying several large bags of loot. A cold voice rang out, "Leave the one holding the stuff, kill the rest." Immediately after, a massive shadow lunged forward. In the blink of an eye, the 4 accomplices were torn to pieces. Fresh blood splattered all over Liang Cheng. Liang Cheng stared at the blood-dripping Ma Wang in front of him, and Linshi and Liao Pang standing a few meters away. Instinct moved faster than thought. He hastily dropped the bags. With a thud, he dropped to his knees. "Boss, spare my life." Linshi stepped closer. "Where did you get this baby?" Liang Cheng avoided his gaze and stammered, "At the Shanghai motel. I went to get some stuff yesterday afternoon, saw an unlocked room, went in to check, and saw the baby. I got greedy, so I took it." Linshi narrowed his eyes. This guy was lying. Seeing Linshi's expression, Ma Wang immediately understood. It bared its fangs, glaring fiercely and menacingly approached Liang Cheng. With Ma Wang's current size, this threatening look was many times more terrifying than before. Liang Cheng slumped to the ground, his legs twitching as he scrambled backward. Don't eat me! I'll talk! I stole it from the shelter." Linshi was skeptical. The shelter? Was it the official shelter that had been under construction for the past half-month? Liao Pang yelled, "Does scum like you even have the right to live in the shelter? You're lying." "I'm not lying. The baby really was stolen from the shelter." Liang Cheng hurriedly defended himself. It turned out that Liang Cheng and his gang had previously gone out looting and traded their spoils for quite a few contribution points. A total of 500 contribution points or more was required to qualify to live in the shelter. Liang Cheng was initially a bit short, but after Liao Pang killed his accomplices, he monopolized all their supplies and finally reached the 500-point mark. 3 days ago, the shelter finished construction, and Liang Cheng proudly moved in. He lived on the upper floor. The shelter also had a basement level, where the temperature was slightly higher, but the price was also steeper. It required 1,000 contribution points. The entire shelter was about the size of a large residential complex. Across its 2 floors, there were thousands of rooms. It was divided into living areas, activity areas, rest areas, medical areas, management areas, and so on. Rumor had it that only those with surplus supplies were allowed to live on the lower floor. The lower floor was much more comfortable. Moreover, it was supplied with electricity for 8 hours a day, though it could only be used for lighting and nothing else. Once he moved in, Liang Cheng didn't dare act too out of line. He couldn't blatantly rob people like before, because the shelter had rules. Anyone with malicious intent, who committed murder, theft, or robbery, would be punished. Light offenses meant getting kicked out. Serious ones meant execution by firing squad. But that was only if you got caught. So, Liang Cheng still frequently pickpocketed and stole supplies. Yesterday at dusk, while strolling through the shelter, Liang Cheng saw a woman pushing a stroller and talking to some other people. He hatched a wicked plan. When the woman wasn't paying attention, he grabbed the baby and ran. Today, that baby became the bait to lure Liao Pang out of his room. Hearing this, Liao Pang flew into a rage and kicked Liang Cheng to the ground. Are you even human? If you have a grudge, come at me. Why harm an innocent baby like this? Do you know how hard it is for a child to survive in this chaos? Linshi looked at the furious Liao Pang and asked Liang Cheng, what did the baby's mother look like? Where was she when you took it? How should I know? I just saw she looked pretty well off. It was in the rest area. I grabbed the baby and ran. I didn't get a good look after Liang Cheng finished speaking. He felt immense regret and crawled back to kneel before Linshi. Boss, I've told you everything. Please let me go. His groveling attitude was a complete 180 from his previous arrogance. Linshi chuckled softly. Instantly, Liang Cheng quickly pulled a pistol from behind his back, aimed it straight at Linshi, and pulled the trigger. I know I'm not getting out of this alive, but I'm dragging you to hell with me. Bang! The gunshot rang out. Liao Pang was terrified. He screamed, Boss! A second later, Liang Cheng stared at Linshi in disbelief, his expression more horrified than if he had seen a ghost. He saw Linshi, the moment the gun fired, snatch his hand forward, and the bullet vanished. Impossible. How could you? You're an evolver. Linshi opened his gloved hand. In his palm lay the bullet that had just been fired. A second later, Linshi flicked his wrist and Liang Cheng's head instantly shattered like a violently smashed watermelon. Evil deeds must be paid for. Liao Pang was also stunned by Linshi's strike. But boss, you're an evolver? Linshi nodded. There was no denying it. Nowadays, there were more and more evolvers, but most were only tier 1. Liao Pang looked at Linshi with even more awe. If someone else became an evolver, he'd be surprised, but with Linshi, it felt entirely natural. Liao Pang always felt Linshi was no ordinary person. What are you going to do with this child? Linshi glanced at the baby in Liao Pang's arms. Liao Pang looked down at the pale baby and said with determination, I want to save this baby, then see if I can return it to its mother. Linshi nodded, saying nothing more. They were all adults, everyone had the right to choose and had to take responsibility for their choices. Liao Pang knelt in the snow. Boss, you saved me again. From now on, my life is yours. Don't worry, if I can't save this baby, I'll give it a proper burial. I know if I take it back to the shelter, people will think I'm a child snatcher. I'll find a way to leave the baby at the military camp gates. They'll return it to its mother. As long as you know what you're doing. I'm leaving. Linshi helped Liao Pang up, said goodbye, and headed up the mountain again. Before leaving, he and Ma Wang cleaned up the bodies of Liang Cheng and the others. To prevent any unexpected trouble, Linshi went to a secluded spot on the mountain and let the giant panda, clouded leopard, and gibbon out of his space. As usual, Ma Wang and the giant panda went together, while Linshi took the clouded leopard and the gibbon. But today, not long after Linshi and Ma Wang separated, Ma Wang encountered an unexpected situation. While happily running in the snow with the giant panda, Ma Wang suddenly stopped. It looked around warily. The giant panda looked confused. Awoo! Something was wrong. Over 20 massive wolves, along with a gray wolf slightly smaller than Ma Wang, appeared before them. They immediately surrounded Ma Wang and the giant panda. Ma Wang's eyes instantly sharpened, and it let out a threatening growl. On Linshi's side, something also happened. Linshi ran into a group of people on the mountain. This group wore military uniforms, consisted of men and women, and all emitted origin power fluctuations. From Tier 3 onwards, Linshi was very sensitive to people and animals with origin power fluctuations. The leader was none other than Qin Shuang. Seeing Linshi, Qin Shuang was also a bit stunned. Halt! Since the last time she helped stop the beast tide, Qin Shuang had been unexpectedly promoted to captain of an evolver squad consisting of 2 teams. One team was military evolvers commanded by someone else. This time, they were out on orders to search for stray origin beasts and mutated plants. They hadn't been in the mountains long. Qin Shuang didn't expect to run into Linshi here. The others grew even more vigilant upon seeing Linshi, drawing their pistols and aiming at him. Who's there? Linshi calmed the agitated clouded leopard. His gaze swept over the 9 people, not lingering on Qin Shuang, and said, just passing through. Qin Shuang snapped back to reality and hurriedly ordered the others to stand down. Put your guns down, don't hurt an innocent person, but only 2 people lowered their guns. The rest maintained their ready-to-fire stance, looking wary. A girl said tremblingly, Captain Qin, there are 2 mutated beasts. Linshi narrowed his eyes and explained, they're my friends. They won't attack unless provoked, but if you keep pointing guns at people, it's hard to say. Put your guns down now, Qin Shuang yelled again, ordering everyone to stop. This time, the others lowered their guns, but still gripped them tightly, looking alert. A pale-faced young man who looked like a scholar stepped up to Qin Shuang and whispered, Captain Qin, didn't Commander Lu tell us to find mutated beasts? If we kill this guy and take these two well-tamed beasts, wouldn't that be a huge merit? After Jin Dao finished speaking, he looked smug, proud of himself for coming up with such a great idea. Qin Shuang absolutely despised people getting too close to her. She frowned. Her eyes filled with deep disgust and shouted coldly, Jin Dao, you are a soldier. Now stop thinking about stealing and scamming. Qin Shuang spoke bluntly, without holding back. The other evolvers in the squad looked at Jin Dao with surprise and confusion. Jin Dao's face instantly turned bright red. Before joining the evolver squad, he used to rob, kill, and assault women with a gang. Unexpectedly, the first time they accidentally ran into an origin beast, all his gang members died, and only he luckily awakened his genes and joined the squad. It had been less than 10 days. Qin Shuang's words hit Jin Dao right where it hurt, making him feel stripped naked in front of everyone. A flash of vicious malice crossed Jin Dao's eyes, but he quickly hid it well. At this moment, Linshi spoke up. Can I go now? Qin Shuang pretended not to know Linshi and gave a curt nod. You may go. Linshi gave a slight nod. He didn't want to cause conflict with the squad, as he still had to live in Sha City long term. Linshi walked in the opposite direction of Qin Shuang. Qin Shuang told the remaining survivors, let's go. Everyone watched Linshi and the gibbon that stayed close to his side until they walked away. Qin Shuang's squad had 10 people, 4 women and 6 men. The girl who had been holding the gun with trembling hands earlier was named Chen Xiao. Now, her face showed no fear, but rather full admiration. That guy just now had 2 huge mutated beasts with him. He's so amazing, another squad member expressed his awe. Why didn't we ask him where he caught them and how he tamed them? It's a bit of a shame we let him go. Yeah, if we could tame a mutated beast as a mount, we wouldn't just level up, we'd get a ton of contribution points. Another person nodded in agreement. Qin Shuang frowned and said strictly, if someone else can tame them, that's their skill. Like the commander said, not all mutated beasts have lost their minds. Many have intelligence on par with humans. We just need to find an intelligent mutated beast, use force to subdue it, and then treat it well, then we can successfully tame it. Many people curled their lips, secretly scoffing. Easier said than done. We've been searching for 2 days and haven't even seen a shadow of a mutated beast. During the last beast tide, besides Qin Shuang, only 3 of those evolvers survived, which made Lin Tianrui furious. If Lu Peng hadn't died, he probably wouldn't have met a good end either. Because of this, Lu Peng's murder wasn't even investigated. Most of the members in Qin Shuang's squad had just joined in the past half-month. They had never seen Qin Shuang's true strength, so they weren't convinced by a 19-year-old girl being their captain. Especially when everyone had differing opinions, conflicts immediately erupted. Ironically, the area Qin Shuang and her squad were searching for mutated beasts was the exact area Linshi had already cleared out, so they couldn't find a single one. Just then, Jin Dao suddenly clutched his stomach, raised his hand and said, Captain, my stomach is killing me. Can I go to the bathroom? Ugh, the female squad members immediately looked disgusted. Jin Dao, why do you take so long in the bathroom? Jin Dao smiled awkwardly. I've gone 3 times already. It's not like I can control it. Qin Shuang frowned and said, don't go too far. Hurry back. Got it, Jin Dao replied, then hurriedly ran back the way they came. Qin Shuang let everyone rest where they were for a bit. She recalled the image of Linshi from earlier. A few minutes after Linshi and Qin Shuang parted ways, the gibbon suddenly stopped. It sniffed the snowy ground, seemingly confirming something. What is it? Linshi asked. The gibbon seemed to have confirmed it. It looked at Linshi, pointed at the snowy ground it had just sniffed, and immediately started digging frantically. The sound of flying snow rang out continuously. Very quickly, 2 large piles of snow appeared behind the gibbon, and it had dug about 2 meters deep. The gibbon kept digging. At that moment, Linshi flinched, and his body suddenly blurred. Pew! A silenced gunshot rang out. The bullet hit the exact spot Linshi had just been standing. Jin Dao, with a ferocious face, stood holding a gun a few dozen meters away. He was the one who fired. It turned out his excuse of going to the bathroom was just a lie. The more Jin Dao thought about it, the more he felt he shouldn't listen to Qin Shuang and pass up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He wanted to capture the mutated beasts, get promoted, and step on Qin Shuang. That little bitch will be under my boot. Jin Dao, with a sinister face, fired continuously, muttering, Kid, I'll be taking these 2 mutated beasts. Just die seeing someone attack Linshi. The clouded leopard roared and swiftly lunged at Jin Dao. Jin Dao hastily aimed his gun at the clouded leopard. Die, you beast. He had decided to kill this one and tame the other. but he fired several shots, only managing to graze the clouded leopard's fur. What the? Could it be tier 2? Before he could finish his sentence, Jin Dao was bitten on the shoulder by the clouded leopard and screamed in agony. The clouded leopard bit off half of Jin Dao's shoulder and swallowed it. Linshi looked at the clouded leopard in disgust. Don't eat garbage. The clouded leopard immediately spat Jin Dao's flesh out, looking like a bullied cat. Stop his screaming. Next time, just bite the head off. Linshi frowned and said. Jin Dao had lost half his shoulder but wasn't dead yet, still screaming miserably. Fortunately, the mountains here were low and the terrain flat. Otherwise, Jin Dao's tragic screams would have definitely caused an avalanche. The clouded leopard understood Linshi's words and bit off Jin Dao's head, ending his pain. Meanwhile, Qin Shuang and the others waiting for Jin Dao still hadn't seen him return. One soldier couldn't help but say, "Did that kid Jin Dao fall into the latrine or something?" Laughter rang out and spread around. Qin Shuang suddenly startled, her ears catching a strange noise. She immediately shushed them. In the wind, a faint, miserable scream drifted by. It was barely audible. Qin Shuang quickly stood up. Jin Dao might be in trouble. Follow me. Let's go check. Everyone was startled. No one else had heard anything. But Qin Shuang was already running, so they had to follow. Following Jin Dao's footprints in the snow, Qin Shuang quickly found Linshi and Jin Dao's corpse. In an instant, she understood what had happened. Jin Dao said he was going to the bathroom, but appeared way out here. The reason was as clear as day. Qin Shuang took advantage of the fact that her teammates hadn't arrived yet, and quickly told Linshi, "You go first. I'll handle this." Linshi glanced at the gibbon, which was still digging and almost buried in the snow, and shook his head. His gaze shifted to the Evolver Special Squad that had just caught up to Qin Shuang. Seeing the corpse, everyone gasped. "Captain, what happened here?" The squad members surrounded Qin Shuang, looking at Linshi and the blood-stained clouded leopard with suspicion. A squad member examined Jin Dao's body and shook his head at the others. "He's dead." The other squad members immediately drew their guns and aimed at Linshi and the clouded leopard. Qin Shuang stopped them. "Stand down." Jin Dao disobeyed orders and sneaked over here to ambush someone. He got what he deserved. This ends here. A male squad member looked at Qin Shuang in disbelief. "Captain Jin Dao was our teammate. He was killed, and you're defending the murderer?" A female squad member chimed in. "Even if Jin Dao ambushed him, there are plenty of ways to handle it. Why did he have to kill him? Killing is wrong." Hearing them, Lin Shi chuckled coldly. "So, he wanted to kill me, and I'm not allowed to fight back? I should just let him kill me?" The female squad member retorted. "You could have dodged, you could have knocked him out or tied him up." Lin Shi sneered. "Well, when I killed him, he could have dodged too, right?" The female squad member choked, unable to find the words. Lin Shi patiently stayed there because he was waiting for the gibbon. It must have found something down there to be this excited. The squad members were about to argue further, but Qin Shuang cut them off coldly. Enough. Jin Dao attacked first and was weaker than his opponent. "Do you want to embarrass yourselves further?" One squad member said. "Captain, the truth is, Jin Dao was bitten to death by his pet. Why are you siding with an outsider? If you want us to drop this, fine, but he has to hand over the beast for us to deal with." He was clearly targeting the clouded leopard. Many agreed. "Yeah, hand over the beast." Lin Shi understood their intentions. He looked at Qin Shuang, letting her handle it. But if she couldn't, he'd deal with it himself. Qin Shuang caught Lin Shi's gaze and turned to her squad. "My decision is final. If the higher-ups ask, I'll take full responsibility. Now, immediately take Jin Dao's body back." Captain, the remaining squad members were either unconvinced or furious. Qin Shuang's eyes flashed with a cold glint. "Do you know the consequences of disobeying orders?" Qin Shuang's sharp, cold gaze made many of them shiver. Normally, she looked like a gentle girl next door and had never shown such an expression, but they didn't know Qin Shuang had killed many people. The squad members, though reluctant, dragged their feet to collect Jin Dao's body. "Ooh, ooh." Just then, the gibbon dug something up and cried out excitedly, holding it up to show off to Lin Shi. It held a massive, purplish-black plant root in its hand. The evolvers in the squad all fixed their eyes on it. "What is that? A mutated plant?" "It's really a mutated plant. One of those can be exchanged for 100,000 contribution points, except for Lin Shi and Qin Shuang." Everyone else's faces revealed blatant greed. 100,000 contribution points. With that many points, they basically wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of their lives in the military. They wouldn't have to do dangerous missions or work from dawn to dusk. Captain Jin Dao must have discovered this mutated plant. This guy wanted it all for himself, so he killed him to silence him. One squad member immediately spoke up. "Exactly, that must be it. I suggest we kill him to avenge Jin Dao. We'll take this mutated plant back to the research institute. It could benefit all of humanity." In reality, everyone knew that if Jin Dao had just gone to the bathroom, why would he have walked so far? Moreover, Jin Dao hadn't even dug up this mutated plant before he died. They were just making excuses for their own despicable actions. Someone had already drawn their pistol, intending to shoot Linshi while his guard was down, but the gun instantly fell into Qin Shuang's hand. She raised the gun, aiming it straight at these greedy, dark-hearted fools. I said it before, we are soldiers, not bandits. He found this mutated plant, so it's his. Whether he hands it over or not is his business. If anyone dares to kill an innocent person, don't blame me for not holding back. The 8 evolvers fell silent, but greed and unwillingness were still evident in their eyes. After a long while, Chen Xiao, the weakest among them, stepped forward and pulled Qin Shuang's sleeve. All right, Captain, don't be mad, they were just talking. How about you help us ask him if he's willing to sell it to us? Qin Shuang thought about it and found it reasonable. She didn't know Linshi could absorb the origin power from mutated plants. She figured selling it to the military for things Linshi needed would be a win-win. She turned to ask Linshi, could you... But before she could finish, a sharp pain struck the back of her neck and Qin Shuang collapsed, unconscious. Chen Xiao, the one who had acted so innocent just moments ago, had struck Qin Shuang hard with the butt of her rifle. She hit her so hard that Qin Shuang's head bled, staining the white snow red. Chen Xiao smiled. Wow, that really works. The other squad members clapped and praised her. Chen Xiao smiled shyly, then feigned fear. I didn't kill the captain, did I? The others immediately checked Qin Shuang's condition. Still alive. I've put up with this bitch for long enough. It'd be better if she were dead. Today, we'll take this mutated plant back and say she died alongside Jin Dao fighting a monster, sacrificing herself for the mission. You guys won't let her come after us, right? The other squad members silently agreed. Someone even suggested, should we just finish her off now? Why are you thinking about that now? Kill that guy first. He saw everything. The group turned their attention back to Linshi, who had remained silent and motionless. Linshi had seen everything unfold. He could have easily warned or even saved Qin Shuang. But then again, he wasn't Qin Shuang's babysitter. She was careless. He had already saved Qin Shuang once. If he wasn't around next time, Qin Shuang would still die. If she still didn't learn her lesson this time, then this pawn was useless. The gibbon was still digging. This plant was bigger than expected. The piece it just dug up was only a branch. It would take more time to dig it all up. Linshi wasn't in a hurry. Unfortunately, those about to die were very impatient. Kid, why don't you just kill yourself? If you fall into our hands, you won't have an easy time. You look like an evolver too, huh? There are 8 of us, and only 1 of you. If you don't want to be tortured and sold as dried meat, just cooperate. Once you're dead, we'll take good care of your battle pets. They kept talking. If they weren't trying to coax him into suicide, you'd think they were being kind. In reality, they were just afraid of Linshi's beasts and afraid of dying pointlessly. If they could win without fighting, that would be ideal. You could only say they were daydreaming. Linshi chuckled softly, a mocking smile on his lips. Clouded leopard, remember the lesson from last time? Seeing Linshi's smile, the clouded leopard trembled, understanding that Linshi was angry. It nodded vigorously. Go. When we get back, I'll give you extra roasted meat. The clouded leopard's eyes lit up. A second later, it shot out like the wind. You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit? Kill this beast, watch out for that kid's sneak attack. The 8 people immediately got into combat stances and drew their guns. A second later, the 8 realized they couldn't even see the clouded leopard's shadow. The clouded leopard was a beast with a natural talent for speed. At tier 2 and above, its speed was incredibly fast, so fast it was almost just an afterimage. They wanted to shoot, but they had to hit it first in the chaos. Several people started firing wildly at the afterimages. Under the pressure of life and death, 3 of the 8 activated their mutated genes. But it was useless. Even if they could clearly see the clouded leopard's trajectory, normal bullets couldn't hurt it. The 8 lost 1 person, and a second later, lost another. The clouded leopard listened well. This time, it bit straight through their heads, not letting them make another sound. It's a tier 2 quick, armor-piercing rounds. Someone managed to react. They hunted beasts, so how could they not know that high-tier beasts weren't afraid of normal bullets? After the last beast died, the military discovered that high-tier beasts were hard to injure with normal bullets, so they began mass-producing armor-piercing rounds. Members of the Evolver squads were equipped with them. Earlier, Jin Dao hadn't even had time to reload before the clouded leopard bit him to death. By the time the 8-person squad lost their 4th member, someone finally loaded armor-piercing rounds. Die, you beast! Just as the clouded leopard was about to bite the 5th person's head off, it tilted its head, and a bullet struck its flesh. The clouded leopard was startled and roared in pain. A second later, another armor-piercing round flew toward it. Clang! The sound of metal clashing rang out. Linshi suddenly pulled out his pistol and fired an armor-piercing round, intercepting it. 2 more shots were fired. The clouded leopard took the opportunity to bite off an enemy's head. Of the 8-person Evolver squad, only 3 remained. On the ground lay 5 severed heads and 5 headless corpses. Fear engulfed the 3 survivors, but their reaction time was almost up. The clouded leopard lunged again. Someone screamed, "Run!" as soon as the word left their mouth. The 3 ran in 3 different directions, as if they had planned it. Linshi shot one dead in his sights. The clouded leopard quickly caught up and bit off the head of another. Only one female evolver was left running. It was Chen Xiao, the one who had sneak-attacked Qin Shuang earlier. Perhaps her gene lock time had run out, because as Chen Xiao ran, she stumbled and rolled down the mountain. "Chase her." Linshi put his gun away and ordered coldly. The clouded leopard frantically chased her down the mountain. Linshi stood waiting for the clouded leopard to return. A while later, the clouded leopard still hadn't come back. Qin Shuang woke up. Qin Shuang subconsciously touched her head, then realized she was surrounded by corpses. Panicking, she quickly looked for Linshi. Seeing Linshi still standing there, Qin Shuang breathed a sigh of relief. Did they attack you just now?" Qin Shuang looked at Linshi timidly. Linshi had entrusted her with a task, trusting her. But not only did she fail to complete it, she was also sneak-attacked by her own teammates. This made Qin Shuang feel both ashamed and afraid, and she had disappointed Linshi. Seeing Qin Shuang awake, Linshi recounted everything that had just happened, including what her teammates said after knocking her out. Qin Shuang was both furious and ashamed. Furious because she hadn't planned to kill them, yet they wanted to kill her first. Ashamed because she was knocked out by her teammates right in front of Linshi without even realizing their intentions. It was the ultimate humiliation, even worse than being backstabbed by Liu Peng in the military. "There won't be a next time," Lin Shai said calmly. "This is already the second time." Qin Shuang nodded vigorously, her eyes resolute. "There definitely won't be a next time." Because of this, Qin Shuang would never let anyone besides Linshi stand behind her again. Just then, faint footsteps approached. Qin Shuang turned her head and saw the clouded leopard running over, dragging a person whose status was unknown. The clouded leopard arrived in front of Linshi and dropped Chen Xiao onto the ground. Chen Xiao was deathly pale, despairing, her arm torn off by the clouded leopard's fangs. She was dying, but not dead yet. Tired from the chase, Linshi frowned. He had told the clouded leopard to chase her down to bite her to death, but the clouded leopard just chased her and brought her back. It seemed it had to chase her all the way down the mountain to catch her. Hearing Linshi ask if it was tired, the clouded leopard panted, looking at Linshi as if asking for praise. Linshi sighed, suddenly understanding why the clouded leopard had the lowest status among the 4 origin beasts. It probably had nothing to do with its tier. Qin Shuang's weak voice sounded in his ear. "Can I kill her?" As Qin Shuang's voice rang out, Chen Xiao, who had been in despair, turned her head and saw Qin Shuang. A fierce glimmer of hope flashed in her eyes. "Captain, save me!" Chen Xiao desperately grasped at this final straw, completely forgetting that she was the one who had knocked Qin Shuang out earlier and even planned to kill her with the others. Linshi quietly took a step back, making room for Qin Shuang. Qin Shuang slowly approached Chen Xiao and crouched down. Chen Xiao was severely injured, struggling even to crawl, and pleaded, "Captain, save me. I'm still young. I don't want to die." Qin Shuang looked at Chen Xiao, gently brushed the messy hair from her face, and suddenly said out of nowhere, "Thank you." "What?" Captain Chen Xiao forced a smile. Qin Shuang said softly, "Thank you for making me understand one thing. If you want to get stronger, if you want to survive, you can't rely on anyone." "Except him," Qin Shuang thought to herself. With that, Qin Shuang moved her hand from Chen Xiao's face to her neck. Crack! Chen Xiao died, her eyes filled with fear and disbelief. Qin Shuang stood up and looked at Linshi. Linshi looked at this girl, who was much healthier than when they first met, and felt a clear change in her. Linshi said calmly, "You don't need to do anything. Just consider these 2 times as paying off your debt. Get me an operating manual for the icebreaker." Qin Shuang didn't ask what Linshi needed the manual for, simply replying, "Okay." As she turned to leave, Qin Shuang whispered, "But a life-saving debt can't be settled that easily." She walked away quickly, afraid Linshi would say something she didn't want to hear. Linshi watched Qin Shuang walk away, his eyes returning to their calm state. Having lived 2 lives, how could he not understand Qin Shuang's feelings? But he could only say sorry. If it were peacetime, Linshi wouldn't mind falling in love, getting married, and having kids when the time was right. But the apocalypse had arrived, and romance had become a luxury. Not just him, everyone was busy surviving. Who had the mental energy for love? Men and women being together in the apocalypse was mostly driven by physiological instincts. Survival was more important than continuing the bloodline. Having another person by your side meant having another weakness, another danger. Linshi was always clear about his goals: get stronger, survive, and absolutely never repeat his past mistakes. The gibbon was still digging. Over an hour later, it had dug a pit 6 meters deep and over 10 meters long. Finally, it dug up a mutated plant from under the snow. It was a green herbaceous plant with no leaves. Its root system thrived in the mud and snow. Tumors of various sizes grew on the roots, some as large as a human head, others the size of an adult's fist, looking like some kind of fruit. Am I this lucky? Leaving the clouded leopard to stand guard above, Linshi jumped down to the bottom of the pit, inspected it, and stood up. He first plucked an irregularly shaped potato, used his knife to cut a slit to check the color, smelled it, and immediately cut a small piece to put in his mouth. His eyes gleamed with excitement. Although this tuber was much larger than the ones he had seen before, and its skin was over a centimeter thick, almost everyone had eaten this kind of tuber before the apocalypse. He definitely wasn't mistaken. Potatoes. Linshi took out a bottle of water, washed the potato clean, and held it in his hand to observe closely. The skin was yellow, looking much rougher than pre-apocalypse potatoes. There were also a few small black spots protruding from the surface, not looking much like pre-apocalypse potatoes, but the taste was unmistakable. This was definitely a mutated potato. Linshi counted. This plant had a total of 37 tubers. Before the apocalypse, potatoes were a high-yield crop with a short harvest time, rich in nutrients, and filling, making them very suitable for mass cultivation. Mutated potatoes could actually grow in these extreme conditions. Linshi knew exactly what this meant. If mutated potatoes could be mass-produced, most survivors would have enough to eat, and the human mortality rate would drop drastically. It was even more valuable than that icebreaker. Linshi stored the entire mutated potato plant, from roots to tubers, into his biological storage space. Last time, the bamboo seeds he planted had sprouted, proving that the biological storage space could indeed be used for farming, though the growth rate was very slow. Growing vegetables would be fine, but who knew how long bamboo would take to grow? Finding the mutated potatoes this time was largely thanks to the gibbon. Linshi praised it a bit and took out the fruits he and Meiwang had harvested in the water curtain cave as a gift, considering it a reward for the gibbon. The gibbon was thrilled. Unable to wait to see if the mutated potatoes could be grown in low temperatures, Linshi immediately headed back. He skipped hunting for the day and returned to the safe house. Upon returning to the safe house, Linshi first replicated the 37 mutated potatoes. After replicating them, Linshi took out a fully replicated mutated potato. It was the size of a fist. He buried it in the soil at the bottom of the small mountain inside the safe house. He took out another replicated potato, cut it into several small pieces, and planted them one by one. Then, he took another piece of replicated potato, marked it, and planted it as well. As expected, the gibbon and clouded leopard were ordered by Linshi to dig holes on the small mountain, plant the potatoes, cover them with soil, and then cover them with snow. Now, he just had to wait and see the results. At dusk, while Linshi was preparing dinner, he heard wolves howling outside the safe house. Linshi's eyes lit up, thinking some primitive origin beasts had discovered his safe house. But when he carefully opened the heavy door, ready to hunt, he saw a pack of wolves standing neatly outside. Leading the pack was Ma Wang, and the giant panda was there too. Linshi was a bit stunned. Seeing Linshi, Ma Wang excitedly raised its head and howled. A woo immediately after. Following Ma Wang's howl, the entire wolf pack raised their heads in unison. Ah woo! This scene was like an ancient general and his soldiers standing on the battlefield, with Ma Wang as that general. One call, 100 responses. The scene brought one word to Linshi's mind: Wolf King. Had Ma Wang become the Wolf King of this pack? Linshi, finding it hard to believe, walked up to Ma Wang. Ma Wang also took a few steps toward Linshi and, as usual, lowered its head to rub against Linshi's shoulder. Linshi patted its head. You're back. Being petted by Linshi, Ma Wang looked very pleased. The giant panda copied Ma Wang, slowly approaching Linshi. Before Linshi could pet it, Linshi stroked the giant panda, then looked at the wolf pack staring intently at them. Most were gray wolves, not too large, but with sharp eyes, and all emitted origin power fluctuations. It was a pack of Tier 1 origin beasts. What's going on? Ma Wang's dog face showed clear smugness. It walked up to the wolf pack, raised a paw to point at Linshi, and howled a few times at the wolves. The wolf pack responded to Ma Wang with a woo. After a few exchanges. A thought flashed through Linshi's mind. A dog mixed in with a wolf pack and chatting with them so happily? He couldn't help but find the scene hilarious, the corners of his mouth curling up involuntarily. Seeing Ma Wang finish communicating with the wolf pack, Linshi quickly coughed to hide his smile. Ma Wang came up to Linshi and used its dog paw to scratch a few large, crooked words in the snow. Kill 10. Now they boss. All listen you. The results of its compulsory education were starting to show. Ma Wang now knew how to write some words, and basic addition and subtraction were no problem for it. It was just that its handwriting was terribly ugly. One word was often written as 2. It took Linshi a moment to understand what Ma Wang wrote. Killed 10. Now they are my subordinates. They all listen to you. He understood Ma Wang's meaning. Today, when Ma Wang and the giant panda went hunting, they encountered the wolf pack. After Ma Wang killed 10 of the wolves, including the Wolf King, it somehow became the new Wolf King of this pack. A dog becoming a Wolf King. Ma Wang's Tier 3 strength was enough to control a pack of Tier 1 origin beasts, and Linshi also wanted Ma Wang to have more subordinates. This wolf pack was truly an unexpected surprise. Linshi counted a total of 18 wolves. Adding Ma Wang, the giant panda, the gibbon, and the clouded leopard, he had a considerable force. If he could train them all to Tier 2, even the force that stopped the beast tide at the Shanghai motel last time wouldn't be able to withstand a direct assault from him. Well done. Tonight we're having roasted meat, bear meat. Linshi added 2 words. Eat your fill. Ma Wang's eyes lit up. Afterward, Linshi and Ma Wang gathered the wolf pack into the space. To avoid affecting the black mutated potatoes and the planted seeds, Linshi used scrap steel plates, alloy plates, and discarded shipping containers he had collected to divide the living space into 2 sections. 2/3 of the area was for Mei Wang and the wolf pack to move around in, and 1/3 was for farming. He also instructed Mei Wang not to let any origin beast cross the boundary. Ma Wang strictly followed all of Linshi's rules. If any wolf dared approach the boundary, it would get a beating. After enough beatings, they became much more obedient. From then on, all the origin beasts knew not to go near that area. 10 days later, life returned to normal. Linshi hunted with the gibbon and the clouded leopard. Ma Wang and the giant panda led the wolf pack to hunt. Ma Wang collected twice as many origin beasts as before. The goal was to quickly boost the wolf pack's strength. Linshi let them eat their fill and brought the rest back to absorb the origin power. Although the number of origin beasts brought back wasn't huge, in just a few days, a wild wolf evolved to Tier 2. With an extra Tier 2, their ability to hunt wild origin beasts increased, and the number of wolves evolving to Tier 2 also grew, creating a positive feedback loop. Before long, 1/3 of the wolf pack had successfully evolved. Thanks to Linshi and Ma Wang's hard work, the survivors in Sha City noticed that the number of origin beasts in the city had dropped by more than half recently. Many people even thanked the heavens for giving them a way to survive. Linshi naturally hid his achievements, not letting anyone know he was hunting origin beasts so crazily to avoid unnecessary trouble. Since the apocalypse, the temperature hadn't improved. In fact, it dropped by a certain average amount every month. However, the daily death toll of survivors was kept within an acceptable range. Humanity's strong adaptability began to show. The origin matter in the air didn't cause most people to evolve, but it significantly enhanced their cold resistance and physique. The arrival of the icebreaker ensured that the survivors in Sha City had enough food every week, mainly frozen fish, along with other daily necessities. People also gradually began to dream of restoring their previous lives. From Liao Peng, Linshi received some information. 10 days ago, an official evolver squad, except for the captain, was completely wiped out. Rumor had it that the captain was not only demoted, but also transferred to the icebreaker to maintain order. Linshi knew this was Qin Shuang making her move, finding a way to get the icebreaker's operating manual for him. Another piece of information. A group of officials from the north had established a civilization restoration project, striving to restore science and technology. However, this project reportedly didn't have the support of the old Sha City military and caused a rift within the Sha City government. Internal conflicts were very fierce. This was different from his previous life. In his previous life, without the pressure from origin beasts, the government always focused on restoring science and technology. In this life, if humanity still wanted to restore civilization without striving to strengthen themselves against the origin beasts, humanity's extinction would come much sooner than in his previous life. To give the people in the government something to do, instead of just daydreaming about restoring science and technology, Linshi decided to hunt further away to avoid killing all the origin beasts on the Sha City mountains and leaving them with nothing to do but dream. There was one thing Linshi didn't expect. The dying baby from last time had been saved by Liao Peng. Now, Liao Peng was raising the child very well. Looking at Liao Peng's joyful face, it seemed he didn't want to return the child yet. Linshi naturally didn't interfere in Liao Peng's business. One day, seeing the time was right, Linshi braved the light snow, holding a small shovel, and went to the spot where he had planted the potatoes. He started digging through the thick layer of snow. This time, he didn't need the help of the gibbon and the clouded leopard to avoid damaging the potatoes, since they didn't know how to be gentle. Linshi didn't dig up the replicated potatoes first. The mutated potato with origin power definitely had stronger vitality. If this potato didn't sprout, then the replicated ones wouldn't either. It would basically be a declared failure. The shovel slowly dug deeper. When he reached the mud layer, Linshi became more careful, digging bit by bit through the frozen hard mud. Then, a mutated potato, the size of a fist, appeared before his eyes. Linshi took a deep breath, carefully digging the dirt around the mutated potato. After clearing the dirt around it, when Linshi pulled the mutated potato out of the mud, he clearly saw a small sprout growing from the bottom of it. Success! Linshi's eyes lit up, unable to hide his joy. He carefully set the mutated potato aside and covered it with a thin layer of snow to prevent it from freezing. These mutated potatoes grew very well. In the future, they could be harvested continuously. Mutated potatoes were rich in energy. Thanks to this, the gibbon and other origin beasts would evolve faster in the future. Linshi suppressed his joy and continued digging. The energy-rich mutated potato had sprouted, but that was only half the success. Next, he wanted to see if the replicated potatoes without energy could sprout. This would determine whether he could maximize the value of these mutated potatoes. Linshi continued digging up the cut and planted replicated potatoes, but this time the results were clearly not as good. The potatoes Linshi dug up hadn't sprouted at all. They had frozen solid. He refused to give up, continuing to dig, and dug up all the cut replicated mutated potatoes. The results disappointed him greatly. Not a single one had sprouted. Only one intact replicated mutated potato remained. Linshi had no hope left, but still carefully dug it up. After digging up half of it, Linshi felt something was wrong. The color was off. This potato was green. Linshi's eyes lit up. He calmed down, continued digging carefully, and unearthed the entire replicated mutated potato. It had sprouted too. Looking at the two tiny sprouts on the potato, Linshi was amazed and overjoyed. Although after mutating, the potatoes lost the trait of being able to grow when cut into pieces, planting the whole potato still worked. It was just that the yield would be greatly reduced. These energyless mutated potatoes would naturally be traded, but to maximize profits, he still needed to let them sprout and grow a bit first. Last time, Linshi heard those evolvers say that one mutated plant could be exchanged for 100,000 contribution points. Although the potatoes could be grown in his space, the space lacked origin matter. Mutated plants outside could absorb origin matter to convert into energy, but not in the space. Therefore, these potatoes still had to be planted outside. Linshi chose to plant them around the safe house area on the mountain peak. Once the mutated potatoes grew, they would be under the snow and mud, so they wouldn't need any covering. But later, he'd have to leave someone to guard them, to prevent them from being discovered by origin beasts that could detect mutated plants, like the gibbon. Linshi called the gibbon and the clouded leopard to start digging holes. By the time most of the mutated potatoes were planted, more than half the day had passed. In the morning, Ma Wang led the wolf pack and the giant panda out. In the afternoon, Linshi didn't go hunting, but prepared to go down the mountain for a stroll. The shelter had been built for a while now, and he still hadn't gone to see it. Linshi took out his snowmobile, revved the throttle, and sped down the mountain. As soon as he got down, he saw Liao Peng airing out blankets on his roof, with a baby carrier strapped to his back, looking exactly like a stay-at-home dad. Hearing the noise, Liao Peng looked down and saw Linshi. The two waved at each other. Linshi didn't stop, driving straight into the city. There were very few pedestrians. Linshi didn't detour, driving straight down the main road. Occasionally, people saw Linshi speed by on his snowmobile, their eyes filled with greed, but they couldn't catch up. Very quickly, Linshi arrived at the eastern suburbs and found the shelter. This wasteland was now completely different from the first time Linshi came here. From afar, he could see the shelter's walls rising abruptly from the ground. Linshi found a place to park his snowmobile and approached. The outer wall of the shelter was tall, enclosing the entire shelter and the activity area inside, like a fortress. 5 large gates, each 2 meters wide, were built separately into the wall for survivors to enter and exit. Each gate had a squad of guards, seemingly interrogating everyone who wanted to enter this fortress. Linshi observed for a moment, then approached one gate. He was immediately stopped by a guard. "Halt, show your pass." Linshi rolled his eyes. "I haven't been here in a long time. I'm here to receive relief supplies," the guard said. "Relief supplies are at the first gate on the left." A man standing behind Linshi sneered, "Country bumpkin. This gate is for the residential area. If you don't have a pass, get lost. You're blocking the way." Linshi turned and saw a skinny middle-aged man in a patched-up down jacket, looking very poor, but seemingly feeling superior just because he lived in the residential area. He looked disdainfully at Linshi, who was dressed neatly like many people before the apocalypse, using his location advantage to look down on outsiders. It wasn't just that man. A woman behind him also glared at Linshi disdainfully. Linshi ignored them, turned around, and walked toward the gate on the left. The line at the left gate was much longer than the others. Linshi lined up at the back. He guessed the relief supply gate and the residential gate were different. They must have separated a specific area for distributing relief supplies. Then, he saw it was exactly as he expected. Stepping through the relief supply gate, inside was a corridor with walls on both sides. The walls were at least 3 meters thick, so the residential area was actually behind the second wall. What amused Linshi was that there were several slogans written on the walls of this corridor. The secret to entering the residential area is to work a little harder than others. Don't let yourself fall behind others, surpass yourself. Hard work can prevent you from becoming stupid. If you don't work hard, you don't need to prevent it, because you won't live long enough anyway. A person who doesn't work hard is no different from a frozen fish. There were many other similar slogans. Linshi read them as he walked, finding them quite interesting. The others receiving relief supplies seemed used to it. Most people had heavy expressions, like soulless corpses, lining up silently. No one knew when the apocalypse would end. Many just wanted to immerse themselves in beautiful pre-apocalypse memories, not wanting to wake up. In this indefinite time, what was left to risk your life for? Linshi followed the crowd to the end of the line. At this point, he arrived at a building inside the first wall. The building was very simple, square, with rough patterns, but sturdy and spacious. On the wall was written in large letters, Relief Supply Distribution Point. The process of receiving relief supplies was similar, but this time, the military didn't provide free bags. He saw the people in front of him taking out plastic bags or cloth bags from their pockets or backpacks to hold the supplies. There was a middle-aged woman with a torn bag. She stood at the front of the line, looking sadly at her torn plastic bag. The distributor said, "If you don't have a bag, buy one yourself. 2 fish for 1 bag." Linshi was startled by the price. 1 plastic bag cost 2 fish. The woman with the torn bag pleaded bitterly, "Sir, could you please give me a bag? My daughter and I rely on this food to survive." Hearing the word "sir," the distributor's face showed clear enjoyment. He seemed to really like being addressed this way, but his mouth yelled, "Don't call me that. I'm just a staff member nowadays." The supply distributors were no longer soldiers, but had somehow become ordinary people. However, there were still soldiers guarding the distribution point to prevent riots. The woman wanted to say a few more nice words to soften the staff member's heart. Going out now was extremely dangerous. She didn't know if she'd make it back alive next time. But the man, seeing she wasn't offering anything practical, lost his patience. He waved his hand impatiently and said, "If you're not buying a bag, don't hold up the line next." The middle-aged woman bit her lip and finally agreed to trade 2 fish for a plastic bag. Soon, it was Linshi's turn. He directly traded 2 fish for a plastic bag. After receiving the supplies, he immediately felt the weight in his hand was much heavier than last time. Linshi stepped aside to open it and take a look. There were over a dozen types of fish, and even a small crab. Although they were all frozen solid, they still looked very fresh. But there were no vegetables, fruits, or salt, the things that had spoiled from freezing last time. Now it was different. Besides frozen seafood, anything else required contribution points or other trades to obtain. Leaving the supply distribution point, Linshi strolled around. Next to the supply distribution point was a labor hall, which had several recruitment notice boards for electricians, mechanics, various repairmen, etc. The most eye-catching one was the Evolver recruitment board, placed in the largest, most prominent position. As Linshi stared at the Evolver recruitment board, a person in the hall looking at other job postings muttered, "Evolvers? More like a suicide squad." It seemed the survivors had a grudge against the official recruitment of Evolvers. It made sense. During the last beast tide, Liu Pang had caused the deaths of many people, almost wiping out the entire squad. 10 days ago, Linshi had annihilated another squad. Being an evolver was indeed a high-risk profession. Next to the labor hall was a contribution point exchange center. Linshi also took a look. The items available for exchange were similar to before, just with more seafood and vitamins. But vitamins were very expensive, 50 contribution points for 1 pill. Next was the official notice of new items that could be exchanged for contribution points, encouraging survivors to collect electronic components, machinery parts, and fuel. Linshi saw on it, collecting mutated beast meat, 50 contribution points per pound. A mutated beast weighing several hundred pounds could be exchanged for tens of thousands of contribution points. And the most prominent at the top was, collecting mutated plants. One live mutated plant can be exchanged for 100,000 contribution points, rewarded with permanent residence on the upper floor of the shelter. Soldiers promoted by 1 rank. Collecting edible mutated plants, exchanged for 300,000 contribution points, rewarded with permanent residence on the lower floor of the shelter. Soldiers promoted by 2 ranks. Linshi frowned. So his mutated potatoes were even more valuable. No wonder those evolvers earlier wanted to kill Qin Shuang to steal the mutated plant. Such generous rewards made it hard not to be tempted. After finishing his tour, Linshi left the shelter carrying a bag of frozen seafood. Just as he walked out the gate, the feeling of being watched returned. It was the apocalypse. Danger and greed lurked everywhere. Every week, everyone could collect supplies, but robbing others of their surplus to trade for other things was also common. No one minded having too many supplies. He wasn't the first to be targeted. This happened every day. Linshi hadn't gone far from the shelter when he was blocked. At this point, he was still within sight of the shelter's gate guards, faster than he had anticipated. 5 fierce-looking men blocked Linshi's path and said, "We just want the fish. We don't want to kill. Give us half the fish in your bag and we'll let you go." Linshi glanced at the fresh fish in his bag, 10 ways to cook seafood flashing through his mind. He flatly refused. No, he was prepared to fight to the death and quickly leave. Unexpectedly, their next words interrupted his thoughts. "Kid, don't ask for trouble. Don't think we won't touch you here. We're from the Tianqi shelter." Tianqi shelter? Linshi raised an eyebrow. Didn't the Sha City shelter always claim to be the official shelter? Why was there a Tianqi shelter that sounded so childish? Seeing Linshi looked like he had never heard of it, one of the men said arrogantly, "You don't even know the Tianqi shelter? Well, today we'll broaden your horizons. Our Tianqi shelter is at the old Qinghai motel. We have 10 evolvers, incredibly strong, no weaker than you. Hand over the fish now, or we won't let you into the eastern suburbs ever again." But Linshi didn't react. The old Qinghai motel had been taken over and turned into a new shelter? Linshi genuinely didn't know. Even in his previous life, he had never heard of Sha City having 2 shelters. "Who is your leader?" Linshi asked curiously, but the 5 men had clearly lost their patience. "Listen here, you little punk. Now I'm the one asking the questions, not you. Hand over the fish, you've wasted our time. Now we want more than just half. Why are we even talking to him? Let's just take him out." Linshi felt the need to teach these guys a lesson in manners, so he grabbed his fish and ran. Seeing Linshi run, the 5 men naturally gave chase. He ran, they chased. Then they realized they were outmatched. Running to a secluded spot, the situation instantly reversed. In the blink of an eye, the 5 men were beaten black and blue, groaning miserably on the ground. Linshi stepped on the back of the one who had yelled the loudest. "How much of my fish did you say you wanted? Spare me, hero, spare me. We don't want the fish anymore." The man begged for mercy. Linshi said, "Then tell me, how did the Tianqi shelter come to be? Don't lie to me. If I ask a second time and the answer is different, I'll snap your neck. I'll talk. After witnessing Linshi's strength, the men completely believed that if they lied, he would crush their heads. They didn't dare hide anything and spilled everything. "Boss, it's all a misunderstanding from their confession." Linshi learned that these 5 weren't actually members of the Tianqi shelter. They did live at the Tianqi shelter, but had no real power. They just used the Tianqi shelter's name to scam people. The Tianqi shelter was established recently. Rumor had it that a big shot was backing it. As soon as it was established, it seized the right to use the old Qinghai motel from the official shelter. This place also took in some survivors who didn't have enough contribution points to enter the official shelter. However, not just anyone could move in. To enter the Tianqi shelter, you had to hand over supplies every week, about 1 day's worth of rations per person. These supplies guaranteed the shelter's protection for the survivor during their stay. This was similar to the official shelter. The difference was that the official shelter charged contribution points as a one-time fee, while this was a recurring payment. It was like buying a house versus renting one before the apocalypse. These 5 men were just tenants of the Tianqi shelter. The Tianqi shelter also spread the word that evolvers could live there for free. Not only that, if evolvers participated in hunting origin beasts, they would be rewarded with extra food. They were openly competing for people with the official shelter. Hearing this, Linshi frowned and asked, "Does the Tianqi shelter also have an evolver squad?" For some reason, hearing this name gave him an uneasy feeling. Another bruised man quickly answered, "Yes, 2 days ago, they even killed a huge origin beast. I heard the meat was delicious, but only those who participated in the hunt got a share." "Who is the leader of the Tianqi shelter?" Linshi asked coldly. "He's a high-ranking official from Jingdu. I think his name is Gao Yuan. I heard he's a very big official." Linshi had never heard this name before. Tianqi shelter, Tianqi New Energy Company. He told himself he was being too sensitive. It was just a coincidence. He quickly lost interest. Just then, the man seemed to remember something and said, "But I heard the founder of the Tianqi shelter is someone else." Linshi asked casually, "Shin something. I heard he initially led dozens of people away from the official shelter to start his own thing, and then before he could finish, Linshi's pupils shrank. With blinding speed, he dashed in front of the man, grabbed him tightly by the collar, stared at him, and asked, 'What did you just say his name was?' Startled by Linshi's sudden approach and threatened by his cold, murderous gaze, the man was too terrified to speak. Shen Linshi narrowed his eyes, his gaze full of danger. "Speak, or I'll kill you." Threatened, the man babbled, "I think it's Shin Fanren. I heard he used to be a rich tycoon." Linshi asked the others, and their answers were the same. Shen Fanren had come to Sha City on the icebreaker last time. He hadn't expected to cross paths with his father's killer on that icebreaker. Linshi clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white, his eyes bloodshot. "So, that woman is probably here too. I can finally get my revenge." Linshi laughed out loud and stood up abruptly. The laughter gave the 5 men goosebumps. The 5 men exchanged glances, scrambled up, and ran. At this moment, Linshi's aura was terrifying, and his expression was somewhat unstable. But how could Linshi let them go? He flipped his hand, and several glass shards appeared in his palm. With a few swish sounds, the 5 men fell to the ground, given a quick end. Linshi searched their bodies, then immediately set off toward the Shanghai motel. Before long, he arrived in front of the Shanghai motel. Looking at the Shanghai motel, the depths of Linshi's eyes were as still as ink, yet churning violently. "Shen Fanren, your time is up." Previously, the Shanghai motel was heavily guarded by soldiers. Now, there were only 10 people standing there, dressed sloppily, looking no different from ordinary survivors. These 10 people all held weapons and wore crude armbands that read "Security Personnel" in large marker letters. These 10 didn't look like they were standing guard at all. Instead, they were chatting to kill time. "Captain, how was that chick last night?" a security guard asked with a flattering look. The security captain was Chu Tianyi. He was the one who had orchestrated the act with his mother to help Shen Fanren escape the squad back then. Now they had returned to the Shanghai motel. Chu Tianyi was idle, so Shen Fanren gave him an easy, lucrative job. At this moment, Chu Tianyi looked arrogant. "Not bad, she served well, but compared to the girls I used to play with in Jingdu, she's far worse. Tell me about it." Others only asked for 1 or 2 fish heads a time, but this one asked for a high price of 5 fish heads. If it weren't for that, I would have tried her too. Another chimed in, "The captain used to be a young master. How can country bumpkins like us compare?" Someone flattered him, and Chu Tianyi said smugly, "You guys can try her too. It's just starving for a few meals, you won't die." Hearing this, the others immediately felt uncomfortable. Easier said than done. Who would willingly starve all day just to sleep with a woman? They knew Chu Tianyi had connections with the higher-ups, so they accepted their fate. "How can we compare to the captain?" someone said sourly. Just then, someone saw Linshi walking toward the main gate. "Someone's coming." "So what? It's not a monster. What are you afraid of?" Chu Tianyi stepped forward, his face devoid of emotion, and blocked Linshi's path. "Halt! Show your pass." Survivors staying temporarily at the Shanghai motel had to hand over supplies once a week to receive a temporary residence pass, which served as their entry permit. Linshi had heard about this from the 5 men earlier, so he pulled a pass from his pocket. Chu Tianyi glanced at the pass. Seeing Linshi was a stranger, he pocketed the pass and said, "This pass is expired." Linshi looked straight into Chu Tianyi's greedy, disdainful eyes and narrowed his own. "Expired? The Tianqi shelter entry pass is only valid if supplies are handed over every 7 days. If not, the pass is revoked and the person is kicked out. There's no such thing as expired." Chu Tianyi, caught in Linshi's gaze, felt an inexplicable chill, but immediately grew angry. He raised his hand to shove Linshi. "I said it's expired, so it's expired. Either pay up again, or get lost." But when his hand hit Linshi's chest, it felt like hitting a brick wall. No matter how hard he pushed, Linshi didn't budge. Chu Tianyi didn't believe it and pushed harder. Still didn't budge. His face changed color. The others behind him didn't notice Chu Tianyi's change in expression and spoke up. "Kid, don't you understand human speech?" Having only been on the job for a few days, Chu Tianyi had used various tricks to extort quite a bit of supplies and entry passes. He mainly bullied strangers. If anyone dared to cause trouble, that was exactly what he wanted. If a couple of people died every day, who would even know? The other security guards were also very familiar with Chu Tianyi's methods. "Kid, did you hear him? Hand over the pass, or I'll make you crawl out of here." Although Chu Tianyi guessed Linshi might be an evolver, he wasn't panicked. With his mother's relationship with Shen Fanren, there were very few people at the Shanghai motel he didn't dare touch. But Shen Fanren had warned him not to clash with evolvers. He reluctantly pulled his hand back, took the pass out, glanced at it again, and said, "I misread it. It's not expired. Here, take it back." The other security guards were stunned. When did Chu Tianyi change his temper? Linshi didn't take it. He had just activated his genes and used his mental power to scan the entire Shanghai motel, but didn't find Shen Fanren or Lu Siyue. "Where is Shen Fanren?" Linshi asked. He had originally planned to storm the Shanghai motel and capture Shen Fanren and Lu Siyue, but unexpectedly, neither was here. Then his only option was to grab this guy and ask. Chu Tianyi was stunned, then immediately became alert. "Who are you?" Linshi's voice was ice cold. "The king of hell." Instantly, he grabbed Chu Tianyi by the neck, his figure flashed, and he left the Shanghai motel. Linshi was too fast. The other security guards only saw a blur, and Chu Tianyi and Linshi were gone. Was the captain just taken? A security guard finally reacted. "I think so." Was that a man or a ghost just now? Someone was terrified by Linshi's speed, but someone else remained clear-headed. "Who cares if it's a man or a ghost? Hurry up and report to the boss. Lord Shen's stepson has been taken." When Linshi stopped, he was in an abandoned room a few kilometers away from the Shanghai motel. He threw Chu Tianyi to the ground like a dead dog. Chu Tianyi lay motionless. To prevent Chu Tianyi from struggling, Linshi had knocked him out on the way. "Kneel." Linshi searched Chu Tianyi, finding a pistol, a few magazines, a windproof lighter, and 2 chocolate bars. He took a bottle of water from his space and poured it over Chu Tianyi's face. "Ah!" Chu Tianyi screamed and immediately woke up. But as soon as he lifted his head, a sharp knife was pressed against his neck, drawing a line of blood. Chu Tianyi's eyes widened, his whole body trembling. "You don't kill me! I'll do anything!" Linshi looked down at Chu Tianyi. "I ask, you answer. One answer that doesn't satisfy me, and I stab you." Chu Tianyi looked down at the knife. His face was deathly pale. "As long as you let me go, I swear I'll tell you everything." Linshi started with the simplest question. "Who are you?" "My name is Chu Tianyi." Linshi raised the dagger and stabbed it straight into Chu Tianyi's thigh. "Ah!" Chu Tianyi screamed miserably, but the scream was cut off in his throat. Linshi grabbed Chu Tianyi's neck tightly. "I asked, who you are, not what your name is. Next time I kill you," Chu Tianyi cried, nodding frantically. Right. I used to be the son of the mayor of Jingdu, but my dad died on the way to Sha City. My mom got together with Shen Fanren. Shen Fanren is the second in command of the Tianqi organization, and also my stepdad." Chu Tianyi stammered, not daring to hide anything, practically confessing what color underwear he was wearing. "I heard Tianqi was founded by Shen Fanren," Linshi continued asking. Chu Tianyi realized Linshi was targeting Shen Fanren, but he was too afraid of Linshi to hide anything. "He did found it. When we first arrived in Sha City, he told us to betray the military and build our own force. But later he realized his influence and power in Sha City weren't enough, so he partnered with Gao Yuan. He let Gao Yuan be the leader, while he took the second-in-command spot. But in reality, Tianqi is still run by my stepdad, Shen Fanren. He has a Tier 2 evolver named Wang Ji by his side, who followed him here from High City. Then Wang Ji found over a dozen more evolvers and formed a squad. Shen Fanren is very cunning. I've disliked him for a long time. My dad treated him like a brother, but as soon as my dad died, he hooked up with my mom." Chu Tianyi hastily tried to distance himself from Shen Fanren. He also Linshi cut Chu Tianyi off. "Keep it brief. Does Shen Fanren have a highly favored woman named Lu Siyue?" Yes. Chu Tianyi nodded like a woodpecker. Linshi's eyes turned cold. Sure enough, Lu Siyue was here too. The crucial question, where are Shen Fanren and Lu Siyue? The icebreaker docked today. They went to the port to trade for seafood. They'll probably be there for a day or two. I see. Linshi's eyes flashed, seemingly thinking of something. He asked again, what's Tianqi's connection to the official organization? I heard Shen Fanren say the Shanghai motel was rented from people in the military. We betrayed the military, so we have nothing to do with them anymore. Linshi nodded and asked his final question. How many hairs are on your head? Chu Tianyi froze. A second later, Linshi said coldly, wrong answer, you're dead. With that, a slash severed Chu Tianyi's head. Even in death, Chu Tianyi was still in shock. Linshi wiped the blood from his dagger onto Chu Tianyi's clothes, cleaned up the body, and left. Not long after, night fell. Linshi glanced toward the Shanghai motel, then headed toward his safe house in the western suburbs. Shen Fanren, enjoy the last 2 days of your life. The port was quiet. The massive icebreaker was docked against the shore. The sky was dim, but the ship's silhouette was clear. Hurry up and unload the last 100 crates. Tianma needs them urgently. Leave the rest for tomorrow morning. Over a dozen survivors hurriedly carried crates of frozen seafood off the ship. They stacked the crates onto specialized snow-resistant vehicles. These vehicles were brightly lit. Qin Shuang stood next to the vehicles, checking and recording the number of crates loaded. Beside Qin Shuang was Wang Chao, standing straight in his military uniform. "How many crates are we short for this shipment to the Tianqi shelter?" Wang Chao asked. Every trip, the icebreaker caught a lot of fish and shrimp, enough to supply the survivors with plenty to spare. Since the Tianqi shelter was established, Shen Fanren had used his connections with Gao Yuan to form a long-term partnership with the military. They traded mutated beast corpses for large quantities of seafood. Every mutated beast corpse could nurture an evolver. Nowadays, evolvers held immense strategic significance, even affecting the survival of human civilization, so the leaders valued them highly. Therefore, they agreed to the trade. "We're still short 100 crates. A total of 500 crates, no mistakes," Qin Shuang said, glancing at the manifest. Wang Chao nodded. Under the dim light, the regret on his face was still evident. "Qin Shuang, you're not suited for this kind of work. Tell me what happened during the mutated beast search in the mountains. How did the people in your squad die? As long as you give me a detailed account, I will personally plead with young Master Lin to get you back into the military." Qin Shuang's eyes widened, her expression calm. "Thank you, sir, but I like working here." Wang Chao sighed. The workers continued unloading the cargo, and it would be done soon. Just then, a man and a woman walked toward Wang Chao. Under the faint light, Shen Fanren looked at the icebreaker docked at the shore, his eyes revealing clear greed and longing. Nowadays, most of the world's supplies were buried under the snow, becoming non-renewable resources. On land, wild beasts had begun to mutate. Only the ocean, with its massive number of creatures and relatively stable temperature, could still serve as the world's food vault. As long as one had an icebreaker and plenty of diesel, they could have an endless food supply. That was the capital he needed to resist, or even replace, Sha City. But Shen Fanren also knew that in all of Sha City, perhaps even all of Hua country, this was the only operational icebreaker left. Shen Fanren hid the greed in his eyes and smiled as he approached Wang Chao. "Commander Wang, are we done here?" Wang Chao gave a cold nod. He clearly didn't want to deal with these two. A flash of displeasure crossed Shen Fanren's eyes, but years of discipline helped him keep his expression unchanged. He looked at Qin Shuang and asked, "Who is she?" Wang Chao said casually, "One of our people." He then explained to Qin Shuang, "This is the deputy director of the Tianqi shelter, Shen Fanren. After checking the goods, have him sign the manifest." Qin Shuang nodded in confirmation. "I'll leave it to you. I'm going over there to check." With that, he walked toward the icebreaker. Shen Fanren's face instantly darkened. He naturally realized Wang Chao didn't welcome him. He had investigated and found out this girl was a Tier 2 evolver who had made a mistake and was punished by being sent to work on the icebreaker. Lu Xiue, seeing Shen Fanren's expression, pulled his arm and shifted the topic to Qin Shuang. "This girl is quite young and promising. So young, yet she served in the military for a long time." Lu Xiue accompanying Shen Fanren was, of course, premeditated. They wanted to see if they could recruit Qin Shuang, a Tier 2 evolver, to their side. If successful, along with Wang Zi, they would have 2 Tier 2 evolvers, significantly boosting their strength. As for offending the military, would the military really attack them directly? Weren't they doing all this to protect the survivors too? Shen Fanren and his group had calculated carefully. As long as Tianqi stood on the moral high ground, the military couldn't touch them. Furthermore, they weren't forcing Qin Shuang to join. If she felt uncomfortable in the military and wanted to come to them, the military couldn't stop her, right? Lu Xiue saw that Qin Shuang was only in her late teens or early 20s, thinking she would be easy to coax. Qin Shuang looked at Lu Xiue, suddenly feeling this woman looked familiar. Seeing Qin Shuang looking at her, Lu Xiue smiled warmly, approached Qin Shuang and whispered, "So pretty, truly a peerless beauty. Those rough men really don't know how to treat a lady." Qin Shuang stared at Lu Xiue's magnified face, suddenly dazed. "Who are you?" Qin Shuang asked proactively. Lu Xiue rejoiced inwardly, grabbed Qin Shuang's hand, and said affectionately, "My name is Lu Xiue, I'm from Tianqi. Just call me sister. Seeing you just once, I feel so close to you, as if we've known each other before." Lu Xiue talked non-stop, constantly using words to close the distance between them. But hearing the name Lu Xiue, Qin Shuang froze. She stared blankly at Lu Xiue. A memory buried deep in her mind for a long time surged up like a tide, drowning her. Shuang, Mommy's taking you out to play, okay? Yay, I want to go to the park, alright. Mommy will take you to a very, very big park. But it's far away. Yay, I want to go to the very, very big park. Then be a good girl and drink all this juice, okay? Good girl, shuang shuang. Mommy, shuang shuang is so sleepy. Yeah, take a nap. When you wake up, we'll be at the park. Are you the buyers? This girl is 4 years old. Healthy. I'm selling her to you. How much? 1,000. 1,000? Can you lower it a bit? Ugh. So annoying. Fine, 500. Deal? Deal, deal. We don't have kids. We'll definitely treat her like our own. Mommy, where's my mommy? I want my mommy. Don't cry, don't cry. From now on, we are your parents. You're not my parents. I want my mommy. Wow, this damn brat won't listen, huh? If you don't listen, see how we deal with you. Qin Shuang's eyes were blank, like a soulless puppet. Seeing Qin Shuang suddenly space out, Lu Siyue thought to herself, is she an idiot? Thinking of Qin Shuang's name, she called out, Xiao Shuang! Qin Shuang subconsciously replied, Mom? Qin Shuang's real name wasn't Qin Shuang. She used to have a very beautiful name, Lin Shuang. Since childhood, she was the only child in her family. In her memory, she had no father, only a mother. Her mother's name was Lu Siwei. When she was 4, her mother suddenly said she was taking her to the park and gave her a glass of juice. Not long after, she fell asleep. In her daze, she heard Lu Siwei talking to someone. When Qin Shuang woke up, Lu Siwei was gone. A strange couple told her she wasn't Lin Shuang, but Qin Shuang. At first, Qin Shuang fiercely resisted, wanting to find her mother, but every time she threw a tantrum, she was met with a beating. Gradually, she became more obedient. Then she started secretly trying to run away, but Qin Shuang was too young, and the couple was on guard. Every time she didn't get far before being caught and brought back, followed by another beating, forcing Qin Shuang to give up the idea of running away. The couple told her the whole story, that they had bought her from Lu Siyue for 500 yuan. At first, Qin Shuang didn't believe it, but as she grew older and recalled the details of being sold, she could no longer lie to herself. She also stopped thinking about running away. Where could she run to? Her mother didn't want her anymore. She gradually accepted her life with the Qin couple. As long as she didn't run or make a fuss and obediently did her chores, they wouldn't beat or scold her. But then one day, the wife suddenly found out she was pregnant and changed. Initially, they were diagnosed with infertility, with a very low chance of having children, which was why they bought Qin Shuang. In the past, in rural areas, people who had trouble conceiving would adopt a child. They called it accumulating blessings for a child. It was a superstition. But once they got pregnant, Qin Shuang seemed to lose her value. Although Qin Shuang already had to do chores, once the wife got pregnant, all the household chores fell on Qin Shuang's shoulders. Qin Shuang was only 6 at the time, and when their son was born, Qin Shuang's status in the family completely vanished. Qin Shuang not only had to take care of the family of 3, but was only allowed to eat their leftovers. The couple also frequently used Qin Shuang as a punching bag. As their son grew up, he joined his parents in bullying and abusing Qin Shuang even worse. Qin Shuang lived in these conditions for decades. She had no ID, no money, and couldn't go anywhere. Even calling the police was useless. She could only survive day by day. But then the apocalypse came. Food in the house dwindled. She wasn't even allowed to eat leftovers anymore. One day, Qin Shuang walked past their room and heard them say that if they really ran out of food, they would eat her. After that, Qin Shuang killed the family of 3. Hearing Lu Siyue call her, Qin Shuang subconsciously blurted out, Mom, huh? Lu Siyue was stunned. Qin Shuang's eyes were incredibly complex. Over the past dozen years, every time she thought of Lu Siyue, Qin Shuang's heart was filled with hatred. She asked herself countless times why Lu Siyue abandoned her, and imagined confronting Lu Siyue countless times. But when she realized the woman in front of her was Lu Siyue, Qin Shuang blurted out that question. She realized Lu Siyue didn't remember her at all. Perhaps this woman had forgotten she even had a daughter. A flash of sorrow crossed Qin Shuang's eyes, and she turned away. It's nothing. Seeing you suddenly reminded me of my mother. Lu Siyue's face turned pale. How unlucky. But she didn't overthink it and smiled. Do I look like your mother? Then it seems we're truly fated. Seeing Qin Shuang not responding, she tried to find a topic. Xiao Shuang, how old are you this year? 20. A beautiful age. Do you have any family left? No. They're all dead, Qin Shuang replied coldly. Seeing that all 500 crates were loaded, she said to Shen Funren, Mr. Shen, all 500 crates are loaded. If there are no issues, please sign here. With that, she handed him the manifest and a pen. Shen Funren laughed heartily, signed his name, and said, Thank you, Miss Qin Shuang. Qin Shuang nodded unceremoniously and left. As Qin Shuang left, Lu Siyue kept insisting on taking her shopping next time, but Qin Shuang didn't answer and just walked away. Not bad. Very full of character. Shen Fanren looked at Qin Shuang's retreating back, his face full of admiration. Lu Siyue, seeing Shen Fanren staring at Qin Shuang, felt a bit jealous. She's the same age as your daughter. Is there a need for that? Shen Fanren retracted his gaze, looking at Lu Siyue with dissatisfaction. I'm just appreciating a capable young person. Let's talk when we get home. It was completely dark now. The entire port was only lit by the icebreaker, surrounded by pitch black. The cargo trucks were temporarily parked on the snow-covered lot. Shen Fanren and Lu Siyue returned to their temporary quarters near the port. Upon arriving, Shen Fanren said to Lu Siyue, "This ship has to dock for 2 more days. I'm giving you 2 days. Hurry up and get Qin Shuang." Lu Siyue remembered Qin Shuang's cold expression. "I know, but she's just a girl. Is it really necessary?" Shen Fanren said, "Long hair, short sight." If she wasn't important, why would Wang Chao personally seek her out? Do you know how rare a Tier 2 evolver is? Only 1 in several hundred evolvers reaches that level. Hearing Shen Fanren's displeased tone, Lu Siyue hurriedly nodded, not daring to argue. "I know. I'll definitely find a way to get her to leave the squad in these 2 days. What about that matter you mentioned before? How's the investigation going?" Shen Fanren asked. Back in High City, Shen Fanren didn't want to waste a spot taking Lu Siyue to Sha City. Unexpectedly, Lu Siyue revealed a secret. According to Lu Siyue, Linshi wasn't her biological son, but the son Lin Mingzhen left behind. The two had a prenuptial agreement, one clause of which was that Linshi must never know Lu Siyue wasn't his biological mother. Lu Siyue always thought Linshi was Lin Mingzhen's son. But after living together for over a decade, one day by chance, Lu Siyue found a small hidden compartment in Lin Mingzhen's study. Inside was a diary recording how Lin Mingzhen had changed his name and hidden his identity, and that Linshi wasn't his son, but his master's son. Lu Siyue immediately realized things weren't simple. In modern society, what kind of ordinary person would call someone else master? At that moment, Linshi came home from school. Before Lu Siyue could read carefully, she heard the noise and hurriedly put the diary back. But that night, when Lin Mingzhen came home, he discovered his study had been searched. Lu Siyue was caught. Lin Mingzhen at that moment was completely different from his usual refined self, exuding a murderous aura. Lu Siyue almost thought she was going to die. However, in the end, Lin Mingzhen didn't kill her. Instead, he threatened her never to reveal this to anyone, or they would both die. Lin Mingzhen bluntly told Lu Siyue that Linshi's identity was connected to a hidden family with a 1,000-year legacy. That family had immense power. If they found even a trace, both he and Lu Siyue would be silenced. He lived in hiding precisely to escape that family. Lin Mingzhen's words were too terrifying. Lu Siyue repeatedly promised to keep the secret with him. Later, Lin Mingzhen was killed by Shen Fanren, and then, the apocalypse struck. When Shen Fanren was about to abandon her, Lu Siyue, risking it all, told Shen Fanren this story. Unexpectedly, Shen Fanren took it very seriously. Lu Siyue didn't understand the terror of hidden families. The ignorant are fearless, but Shen Fanren knew. This blue planet seemed peaceful on the surface, but in reality, undercurrents surged. There were invisible hands manipulating the world's affairs. Those invisible hands were the hidden families and underground forces with 1,000-year legacies. These families knew all the world's secrets, but didn't easily appear before the public eye. They quietly witnessed the changing of eras, occasionally intervening in the gears of time at crucial moments, altering the entire course of history. They were like invisible giants, standing over the entire blue planet, even capable of interfering with the power shifts of many countries around the world. With Shen Fanren's previous status, he could only guess at the existence of these forces, but couldn't investigate further. Shen Fanren believed these hidden families still existed in the current circumstances. He asked Lu Siyue about Linshi, actually wanting her to send people to find him. He wanted to use Linshi to approach this massive hidden family. Being questioned by Shen Fanren, Lu Siyue answered hesitantly, "Still no news. He's probably dead. In these times, people die every day. He's just an ordinary person. It's hard to survive." Shen Fanren snorted coldly, a murderous glint in his eyes. "Ordinary? Could an ordinary person kill my son surrounded by bodyguards?" Hearing this, Lu Siyue immediately shut up, afraid of offending Shen Fanren. Shen Fanren continued, "But if he's dead, that's fine too. What about the body double?" Lu Siyue thought for a moment and said, "I've already sent him to the official shelter. I told him Linshi's entire life story and made him memorize some of Lin Mingzhen's traits and habits. Moreover, the person I found looks about 50% like Linshi. If those families come looking, as long as they don't do a DNA test, they definitely won't notice." But Lu Siyue said worriedly. Lin Mingzhen said, "Before that, if we're found, we'll be killed." "I'm worried." Shen Fanren waved his hand. "What are you worried about? Right now, not a single DNA testing machine in the world works. How could we be discovered? I'll handle the rest. For now, you just focus on getting Qin Shuang. Lucy Yue nodded in confirmation. It turned out their plan was to use a fake to pass off as the real one. Shen Fanren thought that if he could partner with the hidden families, his power would grow even stronger. But to partner with the hidden families, he could only do so through Linshi. Although Shen Fanren believed Linshi had died in Sha City before the apocalypse, it had been a long time. Who knew? Maybe he had been dead for a while. So the two conspired to create a fake Linshi and hide him in the official shelter. If the people from the hidden families came with malicious intent, they could escape unscathed and let the hidden families and the official faction slaughter each other. But if the other party came with good intentions, he would take all the credit and push for a partnership. It had to be said, Shen Fanren's calculations were very shrewd. The next day, Lu Xiyue used the excuse of questionable goods to find Qin Shuang again. But Qin Shuang remained cold toward Lu Xiyue, maintaining a professional attitude and ignoring Lu Xiyue's proposals. 2 days passed, and the icebreaker left the port again. Lu Xiyue and Shen Fanren had no choice but to return to the Tianqi shelter. At this time, a group of people appeared at the gates of the official shelter. A young man led a group of people with extraordinary auras to the shelter gates and spoke to the guards. Inform your leader. Qiyun and Hu Ji are here to see Lin Tianrui. This man, Qiyun, had crossed paths with Linshi twice before. Although they weren't carrying firearms, their group's aura was so intimidating that the guards didn't dare to be careless. Wait here a moment. One of the guards immediately went to report to Wang Chao. Sir, some people calling themselves Qiyun and Hu Jie are here to see young Master Lin. Hearing the name Qiyun, Wang Chao frowned. He had no idea if young Master Lin knew anyone by that name. Qiyun, how many of them are there? 5 people. The one who introduced himself as Qiyun, his surname is Qi, the guard replied. Surname Qi. Wang Chao's eyes lit up as if he'd just realized something. He rushed off to find Lin Tianrui, who was in a meeting with the other leaders discussing their plans. Knock knock. A knock echoed from the door. Lin Tianrui was meeting with Xia Guohuang, Lin Honglong, and the others to discuss the future development of the shelter. He frowned at the sound of the knock, as he had previously instructed that he was not to be disturbed unless it was something urgent. Lin Tianrui opened the door to find Wang Chao standing there with a grave expression. What is it? He asked immediately. Wang Chao rarely disturbed him, so this had to be serious. Wang Chao, looking just as solemn, whispered, Someone from the Qi family is here. They're at the shelter gate, asking to see you. When Lin Tianrui heard the words Qi family, his eyes lit up. He knew exactly what that name signified. They were one of the oldest and most ancient hidden families of the Xia kingdom. For many years, they had remained aloof from worldly affairs, living hidden among the people and never interfering in politics. They had vanished from the public eye for years. So why would the Qi family suddenly seek him out? Just then, Lin Honglong, seeing the meeting interrupted, frowned and snapped at Lin Tianrui. What are you two whispering about that we can't hear? Lin Tianrui quickly explained, Someone from the Qi family is here. What? The Qi family? Upon hearing that name, all the elders in the meeting room shot to their feet. In less than a minute, Lin Tianrui and several other leaders were rushing to the shelter's gate. The group was led by Qi Yun, followed by 3 men and 1 woman. Lin Tianrui mulled over how to address them. On the way, the other leaders had reminded him to be respectful. After all, members of these hidden families possessed either noble status or extraordinary power. However, facing a young man a dozen or so years his junior, maintaining proper etiquette felt awkward. He could only manage a strained smile. And you are from the Qi family? Qi Yun didn't seem surprised to see them, as if he had expected a welcoming party. He replied calmly, I am the 56th generation heir of the Qi family. These are my clansmen. We've come looking for someone. None of the elders felt slighted by Qi Yun's detached tone. Lin Tianrui grew even more puzzled. The Qi family sent their heir? Who could they possibly be looking for? Was there some important figure in this shelter? Lin Tianrui said, You've all come a long way. Please, come inside and we can talk. Qi Yun nodded to the 4 behind him and stepped into the shelter. After both parties were seated, Qi Yun got straight to the point. We've heard there is a man named Linshi in your shelter. We'd like you to bring him out to meet us. Linshi? Lin Tianrui and the others exchanged glances. Immediately, Lin Tianrui sent someone to summon every single survivor named Linshi. A total of 3 men were brought forward. Among them was a young man who bore a 5/10 resemblance to the real Linshi. Upon seeing the group, the young man's eyes flashed with joy. Qi Yun glanced at the 3 men, then said to Lin Tianrui and the others who were watching him intently, Director Lin, would you mind stepping out for a moment? I have a few questions I'd like to ask them. Lin Tianrui glanced at Xia Guohuang and Lin Honglong. Seeing them both nod without hesitation, he replied, Of course, Mr. Qi. Please make yourself at home. If you need anything, just ask a soldier to get me." With that, he and the others left the room. After the door was closed, Chi-yun signaled to his followers. Two of them immediately went to the door, confirmed no one was outside, and then nodded back at Chi-yun. They then shut the door, preventing anyone from getting close. Chi-yun looked at the three anxious men before him. His gaze was sharp and cold, but his voice remained gentle. "So, all three of you are named Linshi?" "Yes," the three Linshis replied in unison. Chi-yun scanned the faces of the three men, his gaze finally settling on the Linshi imposter. "State your ages." "I'm 32, I'm 20, I'm 27. Chi-yun nodded. "The 20-year-old stays. As for the other two, get rid of them, cleanly." The two men who shared the same name were stunned. They hadn't even processed what "get rid of them cleanly" meant. In the blink of an eye, gashes appeared on the necks of the two other Linshis. The woman standing behind Chi-yun had struck without anyone seeing her move. Two corpses fell to the floor with a thud. The surviving Linshi was terrified, but Chi-yun remained perfectly composed, his expression unchanged. "Tell me about your life," Chi-yun said. "The more detailed, the better. Your parents, your habits since childhood. I want to hear everything." The imposter's face went pale. Yes. At that moment, the real Linshi was completely unaware of the conspiracy targeting him. Knowing that Shen Fenren and Lucy Yue wouldn't be back for another 2 days, Linshi had returned to his safe house and gone out hunting again. At dusk the next day, as he returned to his base, a new notification suddenly appeared before him from the treasure basin. "Beast tide detected. Attack in 96 hours. Host, please prepare." Linshi was startled. A beast tide? Already? The apocalypse had only begun half a year ago. A beast tide detected by the treasure basin was definitely not the small-scale kind, with a few dozen origin beasts like the one outside the Shanghai motel. This was a true beast tide, with hundreds, or even thousands, of origin beasts. Linshi opened his personal panel from the treasure basin. Host information. Linshi, age 20. Evolution level, Gene Lock, stage 3. Origin power, 2,140 units. Spiritual power, 208 units. Last time, advancing to stage 3 had only required 400 units of origin power and 100 units of spiritual power. This time, despite accumulating over 2,000 units of origin power, he still hadn't reached stage 4. Linshi guessed that the higher the stage, the harder it would be to unlock the gene lock, but in return, the advancements gained would be even greater, like the god-tier spiritual scan skill from the stage 3 gene lock. With his increased spiritual power, he could now scan a radius of 208 meters. The duration of his stage 3 gene lock had also extended to 10 minutes, a 5-fold increase from when he first unlocked it. "I don't know if this power will be enough to fend off the beast tide." Linshi wasn't completely confident. Anyone who had never experienced a beast tide couldn't possibly know how terrifying it truly was. Over 100 origin beasts attacking in unison could easily tear a stage 2 evolver to shreds. 300, charging at once, could break through any ring of firepower. And 1,000 giant origin beasts, their destructive power was absolutely terrifying. If left unopposed, they could flatten a city in a single day. At the same time, a beast capable of controlling over 100 origin beasts would be at least a stage 3 origin beast. If the beast tide numbered in the thousands, its leader would undoubtedly be a stage 4 origin beast. Linshi didn't know how large the beast tide mentioned by the treasure basin would be, but he had to prepare for the worst-case scenario. He had 4 days. Time was tight. Linshi first reinforced the doors of his base, which were made of 2 layers of stainless steel. Linshi had designed them to the standard of a Class C bank vault, with each layer thick enough to withstand attacks from origin beasts below stage 4. When he built this base, he never expected the creatures to evolve so rapidly. Origin beasts had appeared so much earlier this time. In his previous life, the strongest origin beast Linshi had ever encountered was only a stage 3, but it wasn't too late to reinforce the doors now. The materials he had gathered before were finally coming in handy. Taking out his tools and materials, Linshi quickly reinforced the 2 steel doors. At the same time, he strengthened the door frame to prevent it from being destroyed, which could leave him trapped inside. He finished the work overnight. The next morning, Linshi continued by modifying the base's chimney. The chimney had been originally designed to serve as both a normal flue and an escape route. This was a precaution for an unavoidable situation where the main entrance was besieged. That way, he could use the chimney as a high vantage point to attack and escape. Therefore, the chimney was not only over 10 meters above the ground, but Linshi had also installed rungs inside for climbing. Now, knowing the beast tide was coming, Linshi prepared to climb to the top of the chimney and build a small platform, just big enough to stand on, and provide some cover. This took him another half a day. Next up was replicating ammunition and crossbow bolts. Lin Sha used up 10 days' worth of his replication quota in one go, creating over 100 small crossbows, several thousand arrows, and tens of thousands of bullets. He then checked his food and water supplies, making sure he had enough for the next few days. After everything was ready, with only 2 days left until the beast tide, Lin Shi went to inform Liu Bang. He told him to find a way to get into the official shelter within the next 2 days. Lin Shi said, "I've seen more and more beasts around here lately. It feels like a tide is forming. You'd be safest if you went to the official shelter for a while. The buildings in Weilong Village won't be able to withstand a beast tide attack." He couldn't shelter Liu Bang himself, so sending him to the official shelter was the best option. Once the beast tide was over, Liu Bang could decide whether to stay or return. The man still had his uses. Liu Bang trusted Lin Shi completely. Before the apocalypse, Lin Shi had warned him to stockpile food, and that advice had helped him survive the initial phase of the end times. Therefore, Liu Bang immediately prepared to leave for the shelter with some of his supplies and the child, intending to exchange them for contribution points. He also left the majority of his surplus supplies with Lin Shi for safekeeping. Lin Shi agreed. After Liu Bang left, Lin Shi paid another visit to the Shanghai motel. To his surprise, Shen Fanren and Lu Xiyue still hadn't returned. This time, Lin Shi didn't bother searching for the two of them to ask about their whereabouts. If they were still alive after the beast tide, it wouldn't be too late to claim their lives then. But what Lin Shi didn't know was that at this very moment, Shen Fanren and Lu Xiyue were in disguise, having appeared inside the official shelter. Inside the official shelter, in a dark room, Shen Fanren and Lu Xiyue were both dressed in rough cotton clothes, wearing hats, masks, and sunglasses. They were thoroughly disguised, looking no different from any other survivor from the outside. The two of them sat on the only small bed in the room, which was just over a meter wide, whispering with the Linshi imposter who was sitting on a plastic sheet on the floor. "Are you holding up? You didn't reveal any weaknesses, did you?" Shen Fanren asked, staring intently at the imposter. "No," the fake Linshi replied. "He asked me about my life, from when I was a child until now. My family history, I answered everything according to our plan. Did he seem hostile?" The imposter thought for a moment. "I don't think so. I didn't sense any malice, but he's extremely cautious. There were 2 other men also named Lin Shi, and he had them eliminated, killed them on the spot." Hearing this, Lu Xiyue felt a bit more at ease. Her only fear was being discovered and implicated. "You're talking about that hidden key clan, right? Even the commander doesn't dare speak freely in front of him." "That's right." Shen Fanren asked a few more questions, and the imposter answered each one. The two exchanged a glance, confirming that the imposter hadn't missed any details, and only then did they breathe a sigh of relief. "What should I do next?" The imposter was silent for a moment, then said, "I'm a little scared." Shen Fanren's gaze turned as cold as ice. "It's too late for fear. You know full well what the consequences will be if you're discovered. You have only one path now. Risk everything to integrate yourself into the Qi family. When we need you to do something, I'll contact you. You must not let your guard down for a single moment," Shen Fanren warned in a low voice. The imposter nodded, showing he understood. "Furthermore, we need to stay in this shelter for 3 days. During this time, you absolutely must not reveal your identity. If you have any news, come to this room to find us. Understand?" Shen Fanren and Lu Xiyue were posing as a married couple, so Shen Fanren had used 1,000 contribution points to get a double room. This made it convenient to stay in contact with the fake Lin Shi, as no one knew if the Qi family would take him away immediately. Shen Fanren couldn't afford to miss any opportunity. The imposter acknowledged his instructions. After their conversation, the fake Lin Shi carefully left the room. Shen Fanren and Lu Xiyue were on the 5th floor, while he was on the 3rd. The imposter's real name was Han Bin, and he was 22 years old. He used to be a rich young master, but the apocalypse led to the death of his parents, and he himself nearly died from hunger and cold. With no other options, Han Bin had done it all: robbery, mugging, murder, and arson. Through this, he had honed his skills and developed a reckless streak. When Shen Fanren arrived in Shay City, he immediately began searching for Lin Shi. He couldn't find the real one, but he did find Han Bin, who bore a 5/10 resemblance to him. This was what led to the subsequent plan of borrowing the magpie's nest. Han Bin glanced around, confirmed no one was nearby, and saw that the lock on his door was untouched. Only then did he take out his key, open the door, and step into the pitch-black room. The upper floors of the shelter had no electricity. For light, one could only use oil lamps or candles. Thus, every time he returned, his room was as dark as ink. Fortunately, after the apocalypse, most survivors had grown accustomed to living in darkness. Hanbin fumbled around from memory and found a candle and a box of matches carefully wrapped in oil paper. He took out a match, preparing to light the candle. However, the moment he struck the match and the room brightened slightly, Hanbin suddenly saw 3 people standing in the room. The 3 of them had appeared without a sound, standing silently in the darkness like ghosts, staring intently at him. Hanbin was so frightened he nearly leaped into the air and screamed. The match in his hand dropped to the floor out of fear, fizzling out. The room plunged back into darkness. With the click of a lighter, the woman standing behind Ki-yun lit the candle in the room. Hanbin was so scared he nearly wet himself. When had these 3 people gotten here? He tried to calm himself down, reasoning that they probably couldn't find him and were just waiting here. Not that they had discovered any flaws in his story. But the intense fear made his lips tremble, and he couldn't form any words. Finally, it was Ki-yun who spoke, his expression as if nothing was amiss. He smiled and said, "Where did you go?" Although Ki-yun still wore a relaxed smile, Hanbin felt a chill run down his spine for some reason. He had clearly checked. No one had entered his room. So where did these people come from? Hanbin swallowed hard and forced himself to say calmly, "I just finished eating and went out for a walk to help with digestion." Ki-yun smiled and nodded, seemingly accepting this explanation. The air was silent for a moment. Chi-yun looked at Hanbin, whose forehead was beaded with cold sweat, and said, "You don't seem curious as to why I'm here, or perhaps you don't dare to ask." Hanbin gave a forced laugh, suddenly remembering that his reaction to finding people in his room was not normal at all. Trying to ease the tension, he pointed to the only bed in the room and said, "My apologies. You startled me by appearing so suddenly. I forgot to ask. Why are you here? Is there something you need from me?" Ki-yun lowered his head and chuckled. When he looked up again, his aura flared intensely. "I'm here waiting for you, Hanbin." Hearing his real name, Hanbin's face went pale. His legs went weak, and with a thud, he fell to his knees. Unable to find Shen Fanren and Lu Xiue, Linshi returned to his safe house. It was already dusk. From a distance, just as he reached the mountain peak, the sky suddenly began to rain down tiny ice pellets. Hail! Linshi was slightly startled and quickly entered his safe house, then stood at the door to observe. After a moment, he realized these ice pellets were very small, ranging from the size of a pea to, at most, the size of a bullet. They stung a little when they hit, but survivors nowadays dressed in thick layers and knew to cover their heads and faces, so it wasn't causing any casualties. Still, this weather was not suitable for going out. Linshi stood at the door until the sky was completely dark and the hailstorm still hadn't stopped. Between the sky and the earth, the only sound was the patter of ice pellets hitting the ground. In the frozen apocalypse, spring and autumn were prone to hailstorms. It was now autumn, so hail wasn't unusual. It was just that recently, Linshi had clearly noticed the temperature in Sha City getting lower and lower. The nights were getting colder. He measured the outside temperature, -68 degrees Celsius. That was the nighttime temperature. During the day, it was around -47 degrees Celsius. Linshi knew that soon, the first winter of the apocalypse would arrive. He recalled the winters he had endured in his past life, and combined with this unrelenting hailstorm, a sense of unease began to rise within him. In his past life, once winter set in, the weather in High City became even more brutal. Severe blizzards and heavy snow were common occurrences. Because of the weather and the extremely low temperatures, survivors could hardly go outside, making it even harder to find food. Back then, in the black market, there was wild beast meat and also human flesh to eat. Many people didn't die of starvation or cold, but were eaten clean, eaten by other humans. This was especially true for those living in groups. After one winter, you would find that the number of people in these groups had decreased by more than half, and the remaining half weren't emaciated. On the contrary, some had even put on weight. Then there were those eaten by wild beasts. Wild beasts were even more ferocious in winter. Some would hibernate, making food in the mountains even scarcer, which in turn drove large numbers of wild beasts into human survival zones to hunt for prey. Winter was the peak season for beast tides. As the weather grew colder, most beast kings would become organized and intelligently migrate south. The treasure basin's warning about the beast tide this time was no coincidence. It was only the beginning. With each passing winter, the death toll was immeasurable. Beneath every snowdrift in the city, there could be piles of white bones. But Sha City had its icebreaker ship. As long as the icebreaker was operational, the survivors' food supply wasn't a difficult problem to solve. It wouldn't reach the point of widespread cannibalism. But as Linshi looked out at the vast expanse of ice between heaven and earth, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He had a persistent feeling that the first winter of this life would be absolutely terrifying. But as for how terrifying it would be, Linshi couldn't yet imagine. He only knew that winter was approaching. The temperature had already dropped by more than 10 degrees, and this was because Sha City was located near the equator. If this were in the north, the temperature could drop by tens of degrees, even falling to several tens of degrees below zero, becoming a forbidden zone for survival. Currently, Sha City and its surrounding areas had a growing number of survivors. Origin beasts have a keen sense of smell. The scent of human flesh and blood would undoubtedly attract them to hunt. On top of that, the evolutionary speed of the wild beasts in this apocalypse was extremely fast. If a large number of high-level origin beasts appeared, he didn't know if Sha City's forces could withstand them. If Sha City were to fall, it would be nearly synonymous with the extinction of the human race in the Xia Kingdom. Other places in the world weren't faring much better. Linshi's expression was grave. The next day, the hailstorm had stopped. A layer of fine ice pellets now covered the snow. After finishing his training, Linshi took out some prepared dry rations from his storage space. He didn't light a fire, wanting to avoid leaving any scent that might attract origin beasts. Afterwards, he fed the Demon King pandas the beast carcasses stored in his space. After eating, Linshi changed his clothes and rode the Demon King toward the official shelter of Sha City. At this point, there were only 40 hours left until the beast tide erupted, less than 2 days. This time, Linshi appeared before the shelter openly, making no attempt to conceal himself. The survivors queuing in front of the shelter gate saw the Demon King's enormous figure and, not even noticing the person on its back, thought it was another beast attack and fled in a panic. "Oh my god, another monster is here. Run, honey, wait for me from a distance." The soldiers saw Linshi approaching on the Demon King and immediately went into a combat stance and reported to their superiors. Linshi didn't approach the shelter gate directly, but stopped some distance away. Conventional firearms couldn't reach this far. He had come here to make a deal with the shelter, and it was a big one. The first order of business was to make a show of force, to avoid any conflicts that might affect his life in Sha City. That's why he was being so ostentatious, bringing the Demon King along for the display. Last time, during the small beast tide at the Xinghai residential area, Linshi had also appeared with the Demon King in front of the building. Surely, some of the soldiers would recognize him, and just as expected, some soldiers recognized Linshi by the Demon King's unusual eyes. Isn't that the man in black who killed the Stage 2 beast and saved Commander Qin last time? It is him. I recognize that giant wolf that's just a dog. Nonsense. What kind of dog grows that big? Wang Chao arrived at the shelter gate. The first thing he saw was the Demon King. Its eyes were strange and agile, its fur a mix of gray, white, and blue, its massive body blending in with the snow. Although it was larger than last time, Wang Chao still recognized it instantly. This was the battle pet of the mysterious man who had killed the Stage 2 beast in front of the Xinghai residential area. Immediately after, Wang Chao saw Linshi sitting on the Demon King's back, dressed in black. He was completely covered up. Although Linshi's attire was different from the last time at the Xinghai residential area gate, Wang Chao absolutely could not mistake the Demon King. Seeing Linshi stop at a distance, Wang Chao knew he certainly had something to say. Last time, Wang Chao had wanted to get in touch with Linshi, but after Linshi left, he couldn't find any trace of him. He never expected Linshi to appear on his own initiative this time. Wang Chao signaled for the soldiers to hold their fire and walked toward the shelter gate by himself. Commander Wang Chao's aide called out to him, "It's all right, he's not an enemy. All of you, stay here and don't move." Very quickly, Wang Chao approached within 100 meters of Linshi. Lin Tianrui and the others, having heard the news, also rushed to the top of the shelter's wall. Among them were Qi Yun and his 4 companions. Seeing Wang Chao walk alone toward that giant beast, an old man who had been a high-ranking official in the capital before the apocalypse exclaimed with wide eyes, "Is that brat Wang Chao insane?" Lin Tianrui pulled out a military radio, connected to Wang Chao's, and said, "Wang Chao, what are you doing?" At this moment, Wang Chao was standing just over 10 meters from Linshi and the Demon King, feeling the immense pressure radiating from both man and beast. Despite his naturally cautious disposition, he couldn't help but feel his body tense up. Hearing the radio, Wang Chao replied, "Commander, this is the person who helped us outside the Xinghai motel last time, while you were on your trip." Lin Tianrui understood at once. When he had returned from his trip on the icebreaker, Wang Chao had told him about what happened after they left the Xinghai motel, including the beast tide and the sudden appearance of Linshi and his battle pet. Lin Tianrui was also very curious about Linshi and had even considered recruiting him. Therefore, he said, "In that case, turn on your radio speaker. I want to talk to him directly." Wang Chao acknowledged the order and clipped the radio back onto his belt. Linshi had clearly heard the conversation between Wang Chao and Lin Tianrui. This was just what he wanted. It was best to speak directly with the person in charge of the shelter. Otherwise, he was concerned Wang Chao wouldn't have the authority to make decisions. Linshi looked down at Wang Chao from his high perch, with no intention of dismounting from the Demon King. Then, in a raspy voice, he said, "I've come to negotiate a major deal with your shelter." Lin Tianrui's voice came through the radio on Wang Chao's belt. "What kind of deal?" "I want to trade one item for 1,000 gene pills." "Do you have that many?" Linshi said. This time, he intended to use a sprouted, mutated potato to trade with the shelter. Of course, it wasn't the kind with origin power, but a replica without it. But even as a replica, its value was far more than just 300,000 contribution points. After all, it was edible and could be cultivated. Its value far surpassed that of ordinary mutated plants. To those in charge, it was even more priceless. Linshi's demand for 1,000 gene pills was also a bargaining tactic. The pills contained little origin power, so a small quantity would have a limited effect on him. His starting price was actually 700. When Linshi finished speaking, before Lin Tianrui could even respond, an old man's voice erupted from the radio. Impossible on the city wall, an old man with a face red with anger pointed at the radio in Lin Tianrui's hand. "What brat from who knows where dares to rely on a mutated beast to make such a blatant demand? This is daylight robbery." This old man was the current director of the shelter's Scientific Research Institute. He had also been the director of the National Scientific Research Institute in the capital. He understood the value of gene pills better than anyone. A common mutated beast could only yield about 30 gene pills. As for harvesting them from the air, their entire research institute could only gather 3 or 4 a day. 4 pills, and that was after the apocalypse hit. Before the apocalypse, each of them only received 1 per month. Unlike the flawed gene pills, these had 3 times the origin power content. They had become a strategic resource, not to be distributed lightly. Forget about giving out 1,000 at once. Even Wang Chao only received 3 per month. Lin Tianrui and the other leaders were obviously well aware of how precious gene pills were. Lin Tianrui was very level-headed. He turned off the radio before speaking. Let's at least hear what he wants to trade. He looked toward the director of the Scientific Research Institute. "Director, how many gene pills does our institute have right now?" Lin Tianrui, "Are you really considering giving him 1,000 pills? Do you have any idea how many evolvers that number of gene pills could cultivate?" If anyone else had dared to suggest it, the director would have exploded with rage. No matter what it is, it would be difficult to trade for 1,000 gene pills. I can see that the mutated beast he's riding is a stage 2, possibly even a stage 3. Tell him that even if he were to trade that beast, we still couldn't give him 1,000 gene pills for it. The expressions of the other leaders, while not as indignant as the directors, were not much better. They also assumed Linshi intended to trade his mutated beast, or a beast taming method. Otherwise, how could anyone possibly be carrying something worth 1,000 gene pills? Everyone unanimously agreed with the director's opinion, so they began to discuss. Qi Yun, however, remained calm, observing with a smile, his gaze fixed on Linshi several hundred meters away, as if he were watching some amusing show. Finally, Xia Guohuang spoke up. "Tianrui, that's the person who helped Wang Chao tame that mutated beast, isn't it? For his help that time, we can give him 10 gene pills as a thank you. If he's willing to join us and help us tame mutated beasts, we can offer him a salary of 5 gene pills a month." It was clear they didn't believe Linshi could produce anything equivalent to 1,000 gene pills, but they were still showing him goodwill. Lin Tianrui nodded. "If the trade isn't reasonable, I will refuse. But I need to know if our institute even has that many gene pills right now." Lin Tianrui knew that the military currently had about 500 unused gene pills. The research institute had recently been supplying the military with 20 pills a week, but they always kept some back for research and didn't hand them all over. This was an accepted practice. The specific number had to be asked of the director. In front of the other leaders, the director avoided their gazes and replied, "We have a little over 100. After confirming the number, Lin Tianrui turned the radio back on and said, "What are you offering for the trade?" Linshi took a sprouted, mutated potato from his backpack and held it up for Wang Chao, who was over 10 meters away, to see. "This is the item." When Wang Chao saw the young sprout on the mutated potato, his pupils suddenly contracted. His breath hitched. This is Lin Tianrui, standing on the wall several hundred meters away, could only see Linshi holding up a yellow, spherical object. The mutated potato was so large that he didn't even associate it with a potato at all. He asked through the radio, "Wang Chao, what is that?" Wang Chao heard Lin Tianrui's question, but being over 10 meters away, he was afraid of making a mistake and didn't dare to jump to a conclusion. "Commander, let me take another look." With that, he moved a few meters closer until he was about 10 meters from Linshi and the Demon King. By this time, a soldier had handed Lin Tianrui a pair of binoculars. Finally, he could clearly see the object in Linshi's hand. Lin Tianrui and Wang Chao spoke at almost the exact same time. A mutated plant. A sprouting seedling line. She didn't wait for them to ask, immediately adding, "This is a mutated potato. It can be eaten, and it can be planted." Hearing Lin Tianrui and Wang Chao both mention a mutated plant wasn't enough to make the high-ranking official's expressions change. But when Lin Shi said it was a mutated potato that could be eaten and planted, the faces of everyone on the wall changed dramatically. What? A mutated potato? A mutated potato that can be planted? All the high-ranking officials lost their composure. They, of course, understood the immense value of a mutated potato that could be both eaten and cultivated. A mutated plant that can be eaten and cultivated, and it was a potato, a nutritious and filling food. They had always been urging people to search for mutated plants. Wasn't the whole point to find a mutated plant that could be eaten and cultivated? Currently, thanks to the fishing hauls from the icebreaker, most survivors were no longer dying of starvation, but as the Ice Age apocalypse dragged on, the previous supply of fruits and vegetables had been almost completely depleted. The lack of fruits and vegetables had led to cases of scurvy appearing in the shelter. The military still had some vitamin supplements that could help soldiers avoid scurvy, but there wasn't nearly enough to supply all the survivors. Given time, the number of survivors suffering from scurvy would only increase. They absolutely had to find a type of plant that could be eaten to prevent this situation. They never expected that, just when they needed it most, an edible mutated plant would appear right before them. However, after a brief moment of excitement, the high-ranking officials quickly regained their composure. They had witnessed countless major events and knew that the more important the negotiation, the more crucial it was to maintain a calm demeanor, as immovable as a mountain. But there was one person who could no longer remain calm. Trade will trade. Lin Tianrui, hurry up and answer him! The director of the Science Institute yelled out Lin Tianrui's name. Among the high-ranking officials, the one who understood the value of this mutated potato best was undoubtedly the director of the Science Institute. A mutated plant that could be cultivated held enormous research value for them. Before he knew Lin Shi was trading a mutated potato, the director had been vehemently opposed. Now, he was just as desperate to make the deal. He had dedicated his entire life to the Science Institute. Scientific research was his everything. At this moment, his excitement made him completely disregard the fact that in a negotiation, if one party is determined to achieve their goal, it gives the other party an opportunity to demand an exorbitant price. Xia Guohuang hurriedly pulled the director back and said in a low voice, "Director Li, calm down. We still need to verify whether it can be cultivated and eaten. Besides," Xia Guohuang lowered his voice, speaking so only the two of them could hear, "aren't we short on gene pills?" Hearing this, the director of the Research Institute was taken aback. He had just misreported the number of gene pills to prevent the trade. In reality, ever since the army started bringing back an increasing number of origin beast carcasses, the Research Institute had accumulated nearly 1,000 pills. But for the sake of research, he hadn't submitted them all to the military. As long as he ensured the military had enough, that was sufficient. He wouldn't give them any more than that. At this moment, he felt he was in a difficult position. Lin Tianrui also suppressed his excitement and spoke to Lin Shi through the radio. "Could you let us examine the mutated potato in your hand?" Lin Shi was very casual about it. Of course, he could have as many of these replicated products as he wanted. Seeing Lin Shi being so generous, Lin Tianrui and the other high-ranking officials all developed a favorable impression of him. Wang Chao received the order and hurried to the Demon King's side. As he got closer to the Demon King, Wang Chao could feel the immense pressure from both Lin Shi and the beast even more directly. He himself had unlocked his genes before the apocalypse and had already broken through to stage 2. But in front of the Demon King and Lin Shi, he felt suppressed by a higher-level being. A sense of reverence for the strong welled up within him. If he knew that Lin Shi was the very student he had escorted back to school a few months ago, I wonder how surprised he would be. Lin Shi handed the mutated potato to Wang Chao. Wang Chao held it as if it were a precious treasure and nodded to Lin Shi. Wang Chao then brought the potato back to the shelter. The next step was to wait. Wait for the Scientific Research Institute to confirm that this potato was, as he claimed, both edible and cultivable. Lin Shi and the Demon King waited outside the shelter. Wang Chao had invited Lin Shi inside, but was refused. Wang Chao didn't insist. He stood beside him, waiting with Lin Shi. He made some idle conversation with Lin Shi, exchanging a few words here and there. Linshi realized Wang Chao was trying to probe the origin of the mutated potato. Naturally, he didn't say anything, just gave a few perfunctory replies. Then he closed his eyes, feigning a desire to not talk anymore. Only then did Wang Chao stop. While his eyes were closed, Linshi activated his gene lock. He used his spiritual power to probe inside the shelter. At this moment, inside the shelter's meeting room, a group of high-ranking officials were engaged in a heated debate over the mutated potato placed on the table inside a cotton-lined box. The point of their debate was not that this potato wasn't worth 1,000 gene pills, but that it was worth far too much. After a thorough examination, they discovered that the nutritional value of this potato far exceeded their imagination. Its nutritional value was 10 times higher than that of a pre-apocalypse potato. A potato this large could completely satisfy the nutritional needs of a family of 3 for 3 days. Furthermore, when they cultured the mutated potato cells under a microscope, they discovered that its cell division rate was twice as fast as that of a normal potato. In other words, the growth rate of this mutated potato was twice that of a pre-apocalypse potato. No wonder it grew so large. They even suspected that if this potato were allowed to continue growing, it could get even bigger. A normal pre-apocalypse potato took 60 to 100 days from planting to harvest, but this giant potato, in the same growth period, could reach its current size. This meant its yield was many times greater. Faced with the allure of this mutated potato, the director of the Science Institute finally revealed the actual number of gene pills. Linshi, listening with his spiritual power, knew this deal was a sure thing. He scanned other parts of the shelter with his spiritual power and discovered Shen Fanren and Lu Xiue, heavily injured, in one of the rooms. When Linshi's spiritual scan found Shen Fanren and Lu Xiue, he was utterly shocked. What are those two doing here? The room was the one Shen Fanren had exchanged 1,000 contribution points for. Shen Fanren and Lu Xiue were tied to the bed with thick ropes, their faces pale and their mouths gagged with cloth. Their bodies were covered in injuries. Shen Fanren never expected that just a short while after parting ways with Han Bin yesterday, Han Bin would return with several others and knock on his door. He was captured completely off guard, with no time to prepare, and his captors were the very hidden clan he had been so eager to cooperate with. Suddenly, the sound of the door opening echoed. Hearing the noise, the two of them, though numb with despair, still showed a flicker of hope in their eyes. But when they saw it was one of Qi Yun's subordinates, they immediately fell back into despair. This subordinate of Qi Yun's entered the room and took out a piece of paper to show Shen Fanren and Lu Xiue. "You said Linshi looks like this, right?" He held a portrait sketch of Linshi, a perfect likeness of his former self. Lu Xiue looked at the portrait. With her mouth gagged, she could only make muffled sounds. Qi Yun's subordinate, named Qi Ba, was skilled in disguise and portraiture. On Qi Yun's orders, he had sketched Linshi's portrait based on the two's descriptions. Qi Ba drew a dagger and, while ungagging Lu Xiue, said, "If you dare scream, you know the consequences. I can kill you before you even make a sound." With her ability to speak restored, Lu Xiue hurriedly replied, yes, that's him. That's exactly what Linshi looks like. It's just his eyes should be a bit gentler." Qi Ba took a pencil from his pocket and corrected the portrait. "Like this?" Lu Xiue looked again and pointed out a few more imperfections. She was terrified and didn't dare hide anything. But Lu Xiue hadn't seen Linshi in 3 years, so her description, while physically accurate, captured a temperament and gaze completely different from the current Linshi. Perhaps Lu Xiue would never have guessed that the Linshi of today was no longer the gentle, warm boy she once knew. Finally, Qi Ba showed the finished product to Lu Xiue. In the portrait, Linshi looked innocent, with clear eyes and a slight curve to his lips, appearing both bright and handsome, the very image of a well-behaved student. Seeing the portrait that perfectly matched her memory, Lu Xiue confirmed it. Linshi, witnessing this scene with his spiritual power, was horrified, surprised, and confused. He didn't understand why this person had a portrait of him, why Lu Xiue and Shen Fanren were in the shelter, or why they had been captured. He decided to observe the situation. Seeing that Qi Ba had finished the portrait, Lu Xiue quickly asked, "I've told you everything I know about Linshi. Can you let me go? I'm not his real mother, just his adoptive mother. I have no relationship with him at all." To her surprise, Qi Ba just sneered. "Real mother? You think you're worthy?" Hearing this, Lu Xiue's face turned pale. Qi Ba gagged her again. At this point, Shen Fanren, who was beside her, also started making muffled sounds. Qi Ba saw that he still had something to say. He removed Shen Fanren's gag. "Can you bring your master here to talk to me?" I have many evolvers and the technology to extract genes from medicine. I even have a subordinate who has unlocked the second stage gene lock. We can cooperate, replace the government, and become the supreme leaders of the entire Xia kingdom. Shen Fanren spoke non-stop as soon as his mouth was free. He had decided to lay all his cards on the table to show Qiyun his sincerity. But Chiba was completely unmoved. Instead, he looked at Shen Fanren with ridicule, then gagged him again. After that, he left the room with the portrait. Carefully closing the door, Kiba went straight from the survivor area up to the city wall. It was only then that Linshi's spiritual power detected the people on the wall. A beautiful woman with a cold face, 2 men, one thin, one fat, and a young man. Wasn't that the mysterious young man he had met before? Linshi had seen him once when receiving aid at the shelter. The other time was when he killed a thief who had suddenly unlocked his genes in a small alley. The moment Linshi's spiritual power focused on Qiyun, Qiyun's expression suddenly changed. His initially lazy demeanor became incredibly sharp. His killing intent materialized into a straight beam of spiritual power, shooting toward Linshi's own. Humph! Linshi hastily withdrew his spiritual power. Qiyun stared at Linshi, who was still sitting with his eyes closed on the Demon King's back. Seeing that Linshi was still meditating with his eyes closed, showing no flaws whatsoever, Qiyun looked suspicious. What is it, young master? Qi Yi, Qi Wu, Qi, and Qi San, who had just arrived on the wall, immediately entered a combat stance, warily observing their surroundings. Qiyun stared in Linshi's direction for a long time before retracting his suspicious gaze. Someone was just monitoring this area with spiritual power. What? There's someone here who has unlocked such a high-level gene lock? Qi Wu asked. The only woman in the group spoke in surprise. Among them, only Qiyun was a Stage 3 evolver, and only those who had also reached Stage 3 could sense another's spiritual scan. Qiyun calmed down. The main forces of the Xia kingdom are gathered here. It's not strange for there to be a Stage 3 individual. Qiyun suspected someone in the military had unlocked the 3rd stage gene lock. Qi Yi, the tall, thin, and arrogant man, said, "This information, I'll have someone send it back. This apocalypse has actually given these ants a chance to be on equal footing with us." The Qi family had secretly formed a team of evolvers even before the apocalypse, consisting of direct descendants and trusted subordinates. The number of evolvers was countless. Their strength surpassed the rest of the world. Even the official technology for extracting origin power in the Xia kingdom was obtained from our hands. We trained so hard for so long just to unlock the 2nd stage gene lock, while these ants easily unlocked theirs thanks to the solar flare, Qi Wu said. The slightly chubby, middle-aged man spoke with dissatisfaction. This explosion of origin power had narrowed the gap between ordinary people and dedicated cultivators like them. That's why you must work even harder to unlock your genes. The Qi family does not support useless people, Qiyun said. At that moment, Kiba handed the portrait of Linshi to Qiyun. Young master, we have the portrait. Should we continue searching here? Qiyun smiled, his eyes showing determination. Of course we must search. Now that we have the portrait, even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we must find the person and the item. Linshi sat with his eyes closed on the Demon King's back, his expression serene, as if he were meditating, no different from before. But no one knew he was trying to hide the turmoil within him. At this moment, his head was throbbing with intense pain. It was the after effect of using his spiritual scan on Qiyun. The opponent's spiritual power was like a sharp blade that had pierced his own. Luckily, he had withdrawn his spiritual power in time. Otherwise, it would have been more than just a headache. Who are these people? Why are they looking for me? These questions filled Linshi's mind. The only thing he was sure of was that these people were not friendly. In the time that followed, Linshi both meditated to recover his spiritual power and thought about how to investigate the origins of this group. An hour passed. A soldier approached Wang Chao and whispered a few words. Wang Chao nodded, then stepped aside to communicate via radio. A moment later, he returned to Linshi's side. Earlier, during their chat, Linshi had given Wang Chao the name Li Erhao. Wang Chao said to Linshi, "Comrade Li Erhao, we agree to the trade. But we'd like to ask, do you have any more of those mutated potatoes?" Linshi finally opened his eyes, his voice low. "I do, but I don't have them with me. Besides, can you even produce that many gene pills? A normal potato yields many smaller ones, and a mutated potato yields even more. If I found one mutated potato, there are bound to be others. Once this shelter starts growing, the mutated potatoes, they'll figure that out soon enough. There's no need for me to deny it." Wang Chao's face lit up with joy. He relayed his superior's message. "We will use 1,600 gene pills to trade for 2 potatoes. 1,600 pills. Even if each one only had 1 point of origin power, that was still 1,600 points. Linshi was very satisfied with this price, but he kept his expression unchanged. The price I initially offered was 1,000 gene pills for 1 potato. Wang Chao nodded. Although the potato you're providing is very important and precious to our shelter, this is a one-time offer. If we only trade for 1 potato, we'll be able to harvest a large quantity in just over 2 months. At that point, your potato won't be worth so many gene pills. Now, you just need to provide 1 more and you'll get an additional 600 gene pills. This is not a bad deal for you. Under his mask, Linshi frowned slightly. It was true. The first mutated potato was the most valuable. That's why, for 1 potato, he dared to ask for 1,000 gene pills. In the shelter, 1 gene pill could be exchanged for 10 contribution points. 1,000 gene pills, that was an astronomical price. If you converted that many contribution points into food, you wouldn't have to worry about hunger for the rest of your life. Seeing that the other party understood, Linshi didn't hesitate any longer. 1,600 it is. If you can produce more gene pills, I can trade more potatoes with you. A glint appeared in Wang Chao's eyes. Just as Lin Tianrui had said, this person had more potatoes. He smiled wryly. Unfortunately, 1,600 gene pills is all the shelter currently has. It's only because the research institute insisted on having 1 potato that they agreed to hand over all the pills in their possession. 1 potato is all they need. Wang Chao knew Linshi didn't want to enter the shelter, so he directly had the soldiers bring out the gene pills. Soon, a fully armed squad of soldiers arrived, stopping over 100 meters away, carrying a large chest. Wang Chao personally carried the chest to Linshi. Our general holds you in high regard. He is willing to give you 1,000 gene pills up front. Once you deliver the second potato, we will pay the remaining 600. Linshi raised an eyebrow. He had expected them to pay 800 up front. Although the total amount was the same, their willingness to pay 1,000 up front showed their trust in him. This gesture was meant to win his favor, to build a connection. If Linshi took these 1,000 gene pills and didn't return to complete the deal, they would be at a loss of 200 pills. Linshi's respect for the leader of this shelter grew. Without hesitation, he took the chest from Wang Chao's hands. "I'll bring it to you quickly," he said. With that, he placed the chest on the Demon King's back and signaled for it to leave. Returning to the safe house on the mountain peak, Linshi and the long-armed ape dug up all the previously planted potatoes. At this point, the beast tide was still 36 hours away. If this pile of origin power-infused potatoes were destroyed by the beast tide, Linshi would be heartbroken. It was better to wait until after the beast tide passed to replant them. He stored these mutated potatoes in his storage space. Linshi then took out a mutated potato without any origin power, put it in his backpack, and brought it to the shelter. Wang Chao was surprised that Linshi had returned in less than 3 hours, and his favorable impression of him grew even stronger. In reality, Linshi had taken some time on the road and more time digging up the potatoes on the mountain peak. To prevent people from guessing the location of his safe house based on the Demon King's speed, he had deliberately slowed down. Otherwise, he would have been even faster. Thus, the first transaction between Linshi and the official shelter was successfully completed. Linshi left again. Qi Yi soon returned to Qi Yun's side. "Young master, that person's battle pet is too fast. I couldn't keep up. If I'm not mistaken, it's a stage 3 battle pet. This person is very good at concealing his tracks. It's impossible to determine his exact location." Although Qi Yun suspected that the person who had used spiritual power to probe them earlier was likely from the shelter, he hadn't ruled out the mysterious figure, Linshi. He had sent Qi Yi, the best tracker, to investigate. Seeing Qi Yi return empty-handed, Qi Yun wasn't angry. He nodded, his eyes thoughtful. "I never expected a small place like Sha City to hide such talent. But it doesn't matter. This person will show up sooner or later." Qi Yun then asked, "I told you to inform Lin Tianrui that anyone entering or leaving the shelter from now on must show their face. Did he agree?" "He agreed," Qi Yi replied, "but he asked why we were doing this. I gave him the reason you provided. Next, you all will have to work hard and take turns keeping watch." "Yes, young master," Qi Yi, Qi San, Qi Wu, and Qi Qi replied in unison. Linshi returned to the mountain with all the gene pills. Back in the safe house on the peak, Linshi saw the hole where he had dug up the potatoes still unfilled and had an idea. He released the long-armed ape and the clouded leopard from his storage space. "Here, dig a slightly bigger hole." The long-armed ape was now an expert digger. Wherever it dug, a hole appeared. Its 2 large arms easily broke through the layers of snow and frozen soil. Its movements were skilled and swift. The clouded leopard, not wanting to be outdone, also used all its strength. Linshi instructed the two beasts on how to dig, then had the Demon King stand guard behind them before returning to the safe house. He planned to use the time before the beast tide arrived to set up a few more traps. They didn't need to be elaborate, just enough to slow the beast tide's advance. Back in the room, Linshi took out the 2 chests of gene pills. His bright eyes shone with excitement. The next step was to increase his strength. He opened a chest. Inside, it was filled with neatly arranged blue gene pills. He had seen this type of gene pill in Qin Shuang's hands before, and had also absorbed the ones he got from Shen Fanren. He knew the origin power content of these pills was very low. But these were military-grade gene pills. He had never absorbed this type before. No matter how low the content is, it can't be less than 1 unit of origin power, right? Linshi thought to himself. He picked up a gene pill. The familiar notification from the treasure basin immediately appeared before him. Trace amount of origin matter detected. Absorb? Yes, no. Linshi said decisively, yes. A warmth spread through his palm. Linshi immediately checked his personal interface. Host information. Linshi, age 20. Evolution level, Gene Lock, stage 3. Internal origin power, 2,143 units. Spiritual power, 208 units. Karma power. His initial origin power was 2,140 units. Now it had increased to 2,143, a 3-point increase. This far exceeded his expectations. Linshi's joy was evident on his face. As expected of the genuine article, 1,600 gene pills meant 4,800 points of origin power. This was a huge windfall. Overjoyed, Linshi placed his hand directly on the chest of pills. Absorb. The familiar warm current, the familiar numbing sensation. Linshi closed his eyes, savoring the feeling of his body gradually growing stronger. But not long after, he opened his eyes in suspicion. It's over? He had thought that with so many gene pills, this absorption would last longer. He never expected it to end so quickly. Sensing the remaining origin power in the pills in the chest, Linshi realized something. He checked his personal interface again. Host information, Linshi, age 20. Evolution level, Gene Lock, stage 3. Internal origin power, 3,000 units. Spiritual power, 208 units. Karma power. Host has reached the 3,000 units of origin power required for the next evolution. Reminder, 300 units of spiritual power are needed to advance, currently lacking 92 units. So, his origin power was maxed out. This meant unlocking the 4th stage gene lock was very close. Linshi was secretly pleased. Next, he just needed to continuously train his spiritual power and raise it by another 92 points. He did a quick calculation. If he maintained peak efficiency, training day and night without rest, it would take about 13 days. Confirming that he couldn't absorb any more origin power, Linshi stored the 2 chests of gene pills in his storage space. Not being able to absorb all the gene pills, it would be a lie to say he wasn't disappointed. At this point, he didn't understand why the government would store so many gene pills. Because the condition for unlocking the gene lock wasn't just origin power, but also sufficient spiritual power. The government had no effective method for training spiritual power. They could only rely on regular practice, slowly honing it. For most people, even using medicine to help unlock the 1st stage gene lock was their limit. Only a small number could unlock the 2nd stage. As for the 3rd stage, it was almost impossible to achieve without training to raise one's spiritual power to 100 points. Linshi recalled Qiyun's expression. He had the treasure basin, a divine artifact that both consumed spiritual power and absorbed origin power, which was why he could level up his gene lock so quickly. I have the treasure basin, so what about that guy? Could he be a natural talent? It was only at stage 3 that he learned spiritual power could be used to attack others. That person either accidentally discovered a method for spiritual attacks, or he had been using one from the start. Thinking of Qiyun, thinking that these people were very likely potential enemies, Linshi felt an extreme sense of urgency. Although the beast tide was only a little over 30 hours away, Linshi didn't wait to rest. He immediately began training his spiritual power in the safe house. A day and a night later, with 8 hours left until the beast tide, Linshi stopped his spiritual power training. After a day and a night of non-stop training, his spiritual power had increased by 8 points. Now he was only 84 points of spiritual power away from advancing to stage 4. Linshi took out hot food from his space and ate it all, then fed the Demon King and the other origin beasts in his space. He checked the traps he had set up outside the door, checked his crossbows, arrows, firearms, and ammunition. Confirming that everything was thoroughly prepared, he began to close his eyes and meditate, allowing his body and mind to recover to their optimal state. When Linshi opened his eyes in the darkness, the beast tide was less than 2 hours away from erupting. At this time, north of Sha City, across the river in Jiashui City, something was happening. Jiashui City was a city nestled in a mountainous region with abundant trees. After the extreme cold set in, firewood became as important as food. Therefore, many survivors settled in Jiashui City. The mountains near the city had already been stripped bare by the survivors. To find firewood, they had to go deeper into the mountains. Deep in the mountains, wild beasts and origin beasts often appeared. Fortunately, they always went into the forest in groups of dozens, or even hundreds. There was strength in numbers. Although there were casualties every day, they could still harvest firewood and kill 1 or 2 wild beasts for meat. But today, something unusual was happening deep in the mountains. A group of survivors, their clothes tattered, looking worse than the homeless before the apocalypse, were heading up the mountain together to chop wood. Suddenly, rumble, 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 rumble. A survivor, his face pale and his exposed skin covered in frostbite, suddenly stopped and said, "I think I hear something." "What?" The survivor next to him was stunned. Rumble, 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 rumble. Immediately, he heard it too. The sound grew louder. Rumble, 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 rumble. More and more survivors heard it. "What's that sound?" "Avalanche." "Look over there," a survivor shouted, pointing to another mountain. They saw the snow on a distant mountain peak rolling down. "It's an avalanche, with a mountain in between." These people weren't too worried yet, but the sharp-eyed survivors had already seen it clearly. Amidst the flying white snow, giant origin beasts were running frantically. A survivor reacted, his hoarse voice ringing out, "It's not an avalanche, it's a beast tide."